everybody's willing or ready to go ahead and dig into the actual reparation conversation. I know it's something that's talked about quite often. Some people feel it's not talked about enough, but we're gonna do our best to talk about it tonight. So definitely go ahead and tweet out the space. Let your followers know. Also, like I say, for those that plan on attending the actual reparation rally up in DC, please go ahead and feel free to speak tonight. You guys may have some questions about potential. I don't know if anybody's driving up there, flying up there, hotel situation or whatever, but this will be the space to go ahead and talk about that as well tonight because I do believe you have some actual I believe we have some travel agents within the actual movement as well too. So definitely go ahead and share your thoughts. What's up? I see original up in here as well too. Tech OG. Um, I see a bunch of you, Stephanie, coming up in here as well too. So shout out, guys. We will be starting this space in just a little bit, but we also got to cover the actual, like I say, the actual anti-reparation sentiment that's also taking place in the country as well too. I have an article up in the jumbotron for NPR that you can kind of you can see what's going on. Like I say, we know that mainly white Americans are the biggest culprits against the actual white Americans, conservatives. Dare I say, men are the biggest culprits, especially those I'm sure 40 and up are the biggest culprits against reparations. But it's not just limited to the white community as well too. A lot of Latinos and Asians are dead set against reparation talk as well too. So we'll go ahead and get up into that as well. I was giving no taxation a little second because she said she was going to be running a few minutes late, but I may go ahead and dig into that actual article as well too, y'all. I believe Professor may not be in tonight because somebody was saying that Professor account got suspended. So hopefully we'll see Professor tonight. I'm not entirely sure, but Professor might be out of the space tonight because I believe Professor account may be suspended. So uh, that's just what I'm hearing. So hopefully, we'll see if Professor can come up in the space tonight. If not, shout out to Professor. I'm sure he'll be back as well too. But you know, it don't take much to get your account suspended or even banned on Twitter as well too. So hopefully, Professor, like I say, he'll be in the spot tonight and we can hear him. If not, I'm sure he'll catch us on YouTube as well too. So shout out to Professor. DJ, I know you're doing something, but I'm gonna send you the co-host invite anyways. You don't have to get up on here. I know you said you were doing something as well too. So we're gonna be going in. We're gonna be going in. DJ, did you ever hear anything back from Professor? Or no.
Yeah, he should be up it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the new name is and shit, but he'll be requested in a second, I guess.
Okay.
You already know social tech support. You already know in the building, man.
I wondered that's got to be him. That patches right there. That's got to be him. Hey, Professor, is that you as patches now?
Yeah, Professor is here.
Professor took the old school name Patches. That's some Clarence Carter I be stroking type. Like, okay. Let me go ahead and follow you real quick, Professor.
Hey y'all, so the story behind that name right there, that's my grandmother's name for me. So that's the name that my grandmother gave me, the one that passed away 2 years ago, my mom's mom.
I told you that's old school. When you hear somebody say Patches.
Well, I tell you what, if you're right, Newstoter, old school Clarence Carter. Who remembers the blind singer named Clarence Carter?
I just told him I be stroking.
I be stroking, yeah.
And his classic song he had was Patches.
Was Patches, yeah. That's what my grandma got it from, y'all. She gave me that name, so that's me right there. I might change it. I don't know if I keep that for very long.
Yeah, what's up? Shout out. I see more of our people coming up in the space. Let me go ahead, y'all, since we starting to get our people coming in and no taxation. She's gonna be coming in. When y'all see no taxation, because she's gonna be discussing the DC reparations rally. So y'all go ahead and allow her up as a speaker. But I'm gonna go ahead and I want to touch up on this article for NPR. Talking about why most Americans oppose reparations. And we know who most Americans are, but I want to go ahead and cover that real quick as well, too. So shout out, I see Dana up in here, Black Majority State. I see Rella up in here, Volvo, Goddess, Don, I see Trent, I see a number of our people up in here. Shout out to those that's on YouTube as well, too, guys. And we're going to be talking about Denise. I see her up in there as well, too. So let me go ahead and to no taxation get in here. Let me go ahead and cover the actual the actual beef that a lot of people have with reparations in the country right now as well, too. And we know a number of those people, of course, are non-black people, white Americans at almost 70 some percent do not agree with reparations, and a bunch of Asians and Latinos as well too, which is not surprising. So let me go ahead real quick and cover this article real quick. Like I said, it's from NPR. It's up in the Jumbotron as well too. It says cities may be debating reparation, but here's why most Americans oppose the idea. Local residents programs in about a dozen cities in the state of California have renewed hopes for an eventual national policy to compensate for slavery. But after decades of lobbying and 3 years of a national reckoning over race, Americans overall remain strongly opposed to the idea, guys. The actual article, like I said, is up in the Jumbotron, curator Newstoter.com. This is published by NPR. When Tacitus Natata began polling about several years ago, he expected money would be the biggest issue, or perhaps the workability of such a complex undertaking. It turns out those are the smallest concerns among 2/3 of Americans who say they're against cash payments to descendants of slaves. Majority of Black Americans, majority of Americans, Natata says, don't believe descendants of slaves deserve reparations. A political science professor at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, plans more research to get exactly why people think that. The most common reasons opponents cite is that it is impossible to place a monetary value on the impact of slavery, and African Americans are treated equally in society today. The title and also the Pew Research Center finds about 3/4 or more white adults oppose reparations, and so do a majority of Latinos and Asian Americans. A large majority of Black Americans support them. There's also more support among younger people in a sharp political divide, with overwhelmingly opposition from Republicans and conservatives. On a recent sunny day on a national mall in Washington, D.C., it was not hard to find reparations opponents willing to share their reasoning. You can't take what we have now and try to superimpose yourself onto 150 years ago, says Jeff Bronner, visiting from Huntsville, Alabama. He calls racism a sin and says, of course, slavery was wrong, but to try to make amends at this point makes no sense. The generation that would be paying for it had nothing to do with it, and it's in the past, he says. And then you're paying people that have nothing to do with it in the past. Terry Cron, upstate New York, agrees and does not like the idea of a targeted program that would only help some people. We're all immigrants at some point, whether it was voluntary or forced, she says, and nobody needs a handout anymore. Everybody, pulls themselves up by their own bootstraps and works for a living and makes their way in this world. That conviction that hard work pays off is a core narrative the U.S., says Yale social psychologist Michael Christ, and the notion of persistent racial wealth gap clashes with it. He surveyed people about this and thinks his findings help to explain the broad opposition to reparations. The majority of our sample tends to think that we made steady progress towards greater equality in wealth between families, so between Black and white families. He says this is totally inconsistent with reality. Most of those surveyed thought that today, for every $100 white families have, Black families have about $90. In fact, the racial wealth gap is exponentially larger. Given its magnitude and the recent intense focus on racial justice around the country, Cross called the disconnect a kind of collective willful ignorance. Sure, he says many people, especially white, may be isolated from those in different economic circumstances, and so find it difficult to fathom the enormous wealth gap. But he says it doesn't take much work to understand that Black people continue to be discriminated against in the job market, housing, banking, and other areas. He's come to believe that some, consciously or not, are avoiding the information they may find uncomfortable. Dorothy Brown is a convert on reparations, a Georgetown law professor, dismissed the idea as impractical and unlikely until she wrote a book about how even the U.S. tax system favors white families at the expense of Black ones. She decided the country's persistent wealth gap goes back to slavery, and the only solution is reparation, although she thinks it should be by systematic changes and not just so much cash. In 2 to 3 years, that wealth will wind up in white hands because of our system for building wealth is not designed for Black wealth, she says. Brown is not daunted by the lack of public support. Her forthcoming book will make the case for reparations, and she thinks many Americans are persuadable. Part of it is education. It's a walk through history, she says. It's a recognition that, okay, you may not have had anything to do with slavery, but your white grandfather got a FHA insured loan. My grandfather couldn't get one because he was black. Brown sees a model in U.S. reparations for Japanese Americans who were interned during World War II before the activists pushed for them. Fundamentally, there was a lack of knowledge about what happened, says historian Alice Yang of the University of California, Santa Cruz. Then in 1980 and 1981, Congress held hearings in 20 cities around the country, and they included powerful testimony from people who had been incarcerated with their families as children. Those hearings had a major impact on the public perception of what happened during the war, how Japanese Americans were affected by it, and why redress might be appropriate, Yang says. It helped convince some Japanese Americans who oppose the idea of reparations, but Yang says public opinion overall was not much of a factor. Japanese Americans at the time were only 5% of the population, mostly in California and Hawaii. The campaign for reparations was really about persuading members of Congress, and if there had been a lot of public opinion opposing it, I think it might have affected them differently, Yang says. Supporters for reparations, supported for reparations for Black Americans consider a national program crucial. Explicitly racial federal policy were creating the wealth gap, and only the federal government could come anywhere close to compensating for the harms that have been calculated as much as $14 trillion. Brown sees a local reparations as part of an education program for a national push, where others aren't so sure that it'll help or hurt. Newstoter at UMass believes some places are being mindful of the broad opposition to atoning for slavery. Evanston, Illinois, for example, is providing housing grants for residents who face discrimination. It's not about slavery, Newstoter says. It's about the ways in which individuals who are still alive today were treated during the period of Jim Crow and institutionalized racism. So those people still exist. If that or another program is deemed successful, he says, perhaps a national roadmap will emerge. But Yale research across says it could also promote backlash and reinforce misconceptions about the wealth gap. People could use even local reparation events as evidence that things are moving too fast and unnaturally towards equality. And so we need to stop and take a measured approach, he says. Newstoter says he already sees a general backlash. He says a debate over critical race theory and how to teach race in school is part of the debate about reparations, and yet another challenge to building support for them. He says he wouldn't rule out an eventual policy as young people more supportive of reparations replace older voters, but if it ever happens, it's going to be, I think, decades. In the Pew survey, even most supporters of reparations consider them unlikely to happen in their lifetime. All right. So let's see, Vovo, you got your hand up as well too. Go ahead, Vovo. You got it. And if anybody has in there, if you're on the Bluetooth, y'all go ahead and take it out because it's hard to hear you. So Vovo, can you hear me? Are you there?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you got your hand up.
Oh yeah. I ain't know it was on me. Oh yeah, my bad, brother. I was doing something. Yeah, as far as why they opposed to reparations is because, I keep saying is that the dollar, that's their power. So they feel like they giving up their power. They wouldn't have us on the bottom anymore. That's why. They want to notice that they always, if like I was saying about Muammar Gaddafi, he wanted to come off the dollar, they had to kill his ass. Saddam, he wanted to come off the dollar, they had to kill his ass. They don't want to give us the reparations because then we're not on the bottom anymore. That's their power, is their money. That's why they do shit when you build your community up and we do a Black Wall Street or we do a Rosewood. What they do, they come burn the shit down. They burn down your wealth. They take away your wealth. They do shit to trick you out of your jobs and all that type of shit. Trick you out of your business. They play games. They make you and break you with the money. Why you think they feel as though that they can waltz over into Africa and dictate terms to them? Y'all gotta be gay, but we ain't gonna give y'all no aid. They use the money, they whip you with the money. When they told Nick Cannon, shut the fuck up, but we gonna play with your money. Kanye West, they debanked them. They play with the money.
So that's their power. That's their main power. If you don't take their money, then they'll kill your ass. They'll fuck your life up. I love my plane, brother. That's what it's really about, though.
All right, appreciate that. Tonight, everybody, let's kind of chill on the cursing as much as possible too. But I appreciate that, Volvo. Let me go ahead and because I know taxation. Do you want to speak right now? You want to go ahead and let Original and them and JG go ahead, and then I'll go ahead and get to you after they go real quick.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Original, you got it. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, peace, black power, and reparations, everybody. You know, Newstoter, I think this has more to do with the vehement hate that white people and others have for us. Because, like I say, nobody raised an issue when the people who call themselves Jews, when they got money, and you just read about, you know, the Japanese. Nobody said this when they gave the Indians reparations, but it's us. This is the vehement hate that comes from white people, as well as these so-called other ethnic groups. Because see, these so-called Latinos, whatever the crap they're calling themselves these days, they are the white people in their respective countries. And they get on code with the European white folks and make sure that, you know, when they come here, that they would do whatever they can to help them push the black people down to the bottom as well. That's what it has to do with, because see, again, we have to understand. Remember I told you about back in the 90s, this sister, her name is Dr. Grace Smallwood, and she's the first black person to get a PhD in Australia. And I told you about how when she would see, when her friend and family would see the black American military people coming to Australia, they would try and communicate with them. They wouldn't talk to them, but eventually some of them did. And she found out that the U.S. government told these black folks to stay away from the Aboriginal people in Australia. They gave them the same line. They was killers. They were drunkards. They were into drugs. The whole 9 yards. And so this is what they do with all these, including some of these black folks that come over here too. They're told that same thing about us, to stay away from us, that, you know, we are the worst of the worst or whatever. But yet these same people don't have an issue coming to us when they get in trouble, because they know we know how to get stuff done. You know, so this whole thing about, you know, and all of them are jockeying for a place to be next to white folks. For me, I'm trying to get as far from that evil as I can, because I know it has nothing good for me. And, you know, and like I said, you know, this, and I think that's what this is about. You know, and like Bobo said, even, hell, every time we build something or we do something, they want to come and tear it down. Then they got these spy organizations like the NAACP, which is owned and controlled by Jews. You know, so, and let's not forget that Spingard guy who that Spingard award is named after, he gave up all the names, addresses, and telephone numbers of the black members to the FBI, saying that, you know, they were like, and he come out of military intelligence, stating that they were, you know, trying to be linked to the Communist Party or whatever, but they in your organization. So, you know, this is the level of hate that these white folks have for us. And people get mad at me when I said, no, I don't want to be around white people if I can help it. And I don't care if they're Asian, I don't care if they Arab or whatever. I don't want to be around them, because I know they don't have good intentions for people who look like me. You know, and all these people have benefited, we have assisted these people, because see, let's be clear. Without the Congressional Black Caucus voting with these people to allow these people to come over here in the 80s and whatever, 80s, 90s, and whatever, they would not have been coming over here. But now all of a sudden, they get here they go right back into their racist attitude, the same attitudes they have against the black people in their community. But as I shared with you before, I met a black person from Mexico when I was in California. He came to our forum, and everything was going pretty well until he decided to try to tell us that we need to convert to the degenerate Catholicism religion, you know. And we said, look, bro, that's not working for y'all over there real well, is it? You know, look at the oppression you were under in Mexico. And the blacks in Mexico just got the right to vote in 2016. It's just this insaneness that white is good, or you need to be like white and this, that, and whatever. That's what has these people going. And the propaganda that they're getting from other people, I would say from the government and these white people that run, regardless if they're Democrat or Republican. Let me just put that out there too. I mean, this is the most insane thing. If this was any other group that this was being discussed regarding, no one would have an issue. You didn't see these crazy white folks saying anything about the Indians getting this. Nobody. It's just us. It's the hate that white people and the people that want to be white have for us. And let's not forget, remember, what was it, about a year or so ago, you had some black NBA players over in China being called the N-word, you know? And so it's like, you know, this is insane. These people have a problem with black folks. They feel that we should be on the bottom and we should be helping, and we should be helping them, bringing our money to them, buying the garbage that they want to sell us. And that's why I do not do business with Asians today. I'm not giving them any money. I don't care if they live or die. But they sure as hell don't care about black folk. So I just want people to understand, this has part to do with this has to do with the American government and the image that they have painted of black people around the world. And so people come here with these negative images of us, because all they see of us are these people being in gangs or whatever, and they show the worst of the worst. You know, there was an African sister that said that when she came here, her family, I forget where they came from, they said these degenerate white Christians, the low down white Christians, took them to the worst part of town, where black people live, and they said, this is how black people live. They don't try to do anything. They're just, the low whatever. But then when she began to go to public school and began to interact with some of these, black children, whether they was middle class or not, middle upper class or middle class or not, she said, well, wait a minute, they're not acting like what these white folks told us. This is the propaganda that's been going around the world about us. And unfortunately, a lot of people believe it. But I've seen one African sister say that she did not know anything about what happened to us until she took some classes. It may have been in college or whatever. This is happening because the American government is promoting this about us. If the American government changed their attitude about black people, because look, you just had
real quick, original. Let me get back to you because I want to get to the other speaker. Yeah. Then I want to get to no taxation, but we'll get back to you though. JG, go ahead and unmute your mic, and we'll get back to your original.
Yeah. So to the room, why most Americans oppose reparations. And I'm going to say most NIMS or anyone that's not black. It's very simple. Okay, see, reparations cannot be made just for slavery. And I don't say that lightly. I'm not taking slavery lightly. Reparations, when the history is shared of what was done to our ancestors, some of us that are directly blood related, there's a level of shame that, I don't know if it was Donald Trump or whatever president said they didn't want to make kids feel bad, right, for America. there are people that are of the German, Nazi, whatever, that will not tell you what their last name is because of the stench that goes with what was done. When the true history and those stories begin to, yes, white people, I have know some that reparations should be, but when we don't tell the history, because many of us don't even know the history, but when we don't share the history about the redress, not reparations for slavery. Let's say, okay, let's say slavery was legal. Okay, but let's go after with everything being built and the protections that we were not afforded, and the things that we'll find should we ever begin to start doing DNA ancestry to really find out who our true cousins are, first and second, third. Some of y'all don't even know. So when you talk about mental health that is rampant in our community, it's for a reason. These are the stories that, people don't want to know. But white people, black people, Asian people, if they knew these truths, reparations wouldn't even be a question. Yes, America's done a great job concealing the truth. But the time has come, and I'm proudly to say in California, right? To be the first state to do something forward, may not be the best, but to move something forward, and to know that it may not be the best, but it will pass through our legislature. And it will be the vote of white and black people, but for those truths that are being shared. So that's why most people don't know. There's a reason why Ron DeSantis in Florida don't want to do real history. Because people might actually look and see how evil some white people were and some white people are today because of the lengths that they went to go through to continue to conceal the truth. That's why people don't want to pay reparations, because they don't know. I land.
Okay, real quick, because I want to go ahead and get to no taxation. Because for everybody coming to space, we're going to be talking about this topic right here: why do most Americans oppose reparations, and we're also going to be mentioning no taxation. She's going to come up here and mention the actual DC reparation rally that's taking place on the Juneteenth Father's Day weekend as well too. So she's going to come up here and mention that as well and talk about that as well. JG, I would have to go ahead. No, hold on real quick, Vovo. The whole speaking, y'all hold on for a second. Yeah, I have to say this real quick, JG, before I go ahead and kick it to no taxation. That I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. I know everybody want to say that, and definitely Reconstruction and Jim Crow and everything, all the horrors that came with it, that definitely needs to be addressed as well too. But I think at this point in time, you never had the slavery issue ever settled. So I think just my personal opinion, I think that first and foremost, my focus, my concentration is on the actual the actual descendants of American chattel slavery. And that's not to say, like I said, down the road we can't go ahead and get to everything else as well too. But first and foremost, that's something. Every other I don't want to say tragedy, but everything that went down in this country in terms of the mistreatment of people, whether it was the Native Americans, whether it was the Japanese Americans, people went ahead and they dealt with that. They didn't say, well, you know what, let's go ahead and not deal with the biggest thing that this country had. Let's go to the next thing. And simply because, people don't want to really go ahead and they rather talk about the other stuff. They really don't want to address the actual slavery that took place in this country and all of the wealth and the accumulation of wealth that was generated off of the backs of people right here. Something that was supposed to be taken care of after the Civil War never was taken care of. And the first thing people said, well, those people are dead, so we don't owe those people nothing, this and that or whatever, and this and that, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I'm going to have to kind of just, respectfully disagree with you on that. I think first and foremost, that is the original sin of this country. That needs to be addressed first and foremost. When we go ahead and we can address the actual slavery, then we can go ahead and we can get to all the other issues that's taken place in American history. I have no issue with that whatsoever. But I think we have to go ahead and we have to address that everything. This country would be nothing if it was not for the actual wealth that it generated through slavery. It was able to go ahead and become a power overnight simply because it had free labor for a long time, as not only the colonial America, but as the United States of America. And you're right. the Reconstruction era and Jim Crow era as well, they enriched themselves even more off of black people. But I think first and foremost, we got to go ahead and we got to take care of the actual slave issue that was never talked about, that's always been swept under the rug, and that people trying to minimize. Now you're talking about, you got these books and stuff coming out talking about, they weren't slaves, they were indentured servants, they were helpers, they were all this other nonsense and stuff like that. And I just can't roll with that. Until we go ahead, we got to go ahead and address that slavery issue, and then we can go ahead and we can talk about everybody else, and other groups want to talk about how they've been wrong and stuff too. Well, they can go ahead and get in line first, but first and foremost, the actual descendants of chattel slavery, you got to straighten them, just in my personal opinion. But let me go ahead and let me give a shout out real quick to Jimmy. Jimmy, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get the no taxation. Y'all put your hands up.
Can I ask the brother a question, brother?
No, bro. Let me get the no taxation real quick, and then we'll come back to you, Vovo. Go ahead, no taxation.
Hey, Newstoter, DJ, the other co-hosts, everybody in the room, the people I know and the people I don't know. Did what you read, did that come out of the San Francisco Bay?
No, that came from the NPR. No taxation. Is there any way that you could crank your volume up just a little bit, sister?
Can you hear me now?
It's pretty much the same. I was saying that we can get.
Let me leave and come back.
Well, if you on Bluetooth, that might be what it is.
I'm actually not on Bluetooth.
No, okay. Well, go.
And if it's bad, I don't want it.
No, it's not bad. It's just kind of low. I was just trying to see if we could get you a little bit louder. Like
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. You can go ahead and go.
Okay. Are you sure you can hear me?
I can hear you. It's just for our people on YouTube.
Well, let me leave and come back.
Okay, go.
Okay.
You sound okay.
Yeah, I can. I can hear her. I can hear her, but I know people. I can hear her, but I know sometimes people on YouTube will say that they have a hard time hearing the speakers. So that's why I was trying.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I was trying to see if I can get her louder just for the people on YouTube. I can hear her.
What you said, sister? Taxation.
I didn't know who you were. Every time I turn around, you got something going on.
Yeah, they did me in, sister. No taxation. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if y'all can hear me,
Can I?
What? Come on, Bobo. Please don't. Go ahead, baby. Let Bobo go.
Yeah, go ahead, Vovo.
I want to say this,
All right.
brother. But for the room get messy and sloppy, we get to talk about other shit. The brother said that these people don't know. These people don't know, bro. It's 2023, and these people don't know. Come on, bro. Like, bro, who the fuck is these niggas, man?
Hey, chill. Hey, I already said chill on the language, y'all. Chill on the language. Hey, and yeah, no taxation.
I got a little heated, but
Yeah.
brother, come on, brother. This is troll stuff now. They don't know. These people don't know the history of their country. If I told these people they not real Americans, they would get mad. They would be upset. It'd be stop Asian hate. It'd be racist. And these people don't know. They don't know what's going on. They know how to mimic us. They know how to hate us, but they don't know what's going on. And we got a black man talking like that. Man, I'm gonna drop down, man. Y'all, this is a troll space.
All right, Vovo. All this troll space. I mean, if it's like that, then bro, you can go ahead and leave. I don't know where we get into this troll space.
Let me just say this, and I'll drop back up. Right. No, I'm not even trying to troll. What I'm saying in the room is this. Right now in California, because that's where I'm at, is political. So when I say people don't know, right, the constituents, I go to schools right now today and talk to kids. They don't know that slaves were in California. I'm a descendant of a slave that was brought to California, paid for his freedom twice. So when I say people don't know, I'm talking about the people that are holding these legislators accountable in their office. Oh yeah, those people down in D.C. and the legislature, they know the history. But if you grew up and you didn't have the parent telling you, just like a whole bunch of people don't know who their ancestors are. There's a whole bunch of fighting because I can't find somebody in the census. Why? Because they're underneath rivers and lakes. They changed their names, got here from the Underground Railroad. Oh, I know the history. But I'm going to go down and land and listen to the space. You can invite me back up. But don't test who I am. I know who I am. But when you talk about politics and why this shit's got to go how it's got to go, it's because there is an educational piece that's got to occur. And I'm in this liberal place we call California, where they truly don't know. When I say they, the masses of the people that are going into NPR or PBS and saying we don't approve of reparations. Why would somebody from the Klan come home and tell their kids what they were doing? That's trauma. They didn't. Some folks did. I found out stuff about my family my mother never told me. Why? For protection. So yeah, there are people that don't know about my great-great-granddad. So yeah, there's stuff people don't know. I'm going to go to the bottom.
All right. No taxation. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
You're not gonna believe it. I agree with everybody that had something to say. Including what you said, Newstoter. Every single one of you all made a completely valid point. For me, what stuck out the most was what Bobo said about the money part, because he was talking numbers. Money is numbers, right? And numbers is power. And so it's a little bit deeper than money. It's about getting the numbers. But money too, don't put a discount on it. Every single thing that you all have said in this room is, and people do not know. Trust him when he says this. It's a lot of dumb, blind white folks walking around, and black ones too. So not everybody knows, and they don't want you to know. Apparently, if you go down to Florida and some more different states, Colorado, all of them. So everything that you all said is correct and true, because it's a multi-layered problem, and it's gotten extremely worse. And before I say anything about the rally, I want us to continue talking about reparations. I want to know why we're not doing a national push as opposed to a state push. If the energy that we expend on states, we spent nationally, which takes people coming out of their pocket with money. You might have to fly, travel, drive, take a train, bus, something, and sit with the people on Capitol Hill. If we had invaded Capitol Hill, it wouldn't matter whether these white folks agreed with us about reparations or not, because we'd be in their face every day. Our problem is we're not in their face every day. The Asians are there every day. The Pan-Africans are there every day. Everybody's up there every day. Of course, the Jewish people, they don't even have to go up there no more. They run it. And white folks, every group is up there but us. And then when you do see a group of us, they either got an African with them, or their numbers are so small it don't make a difference. Go to Capitol Hill and take 5 of your friends with you. Put 6 people of yours in the room. That's how business is done. And it is business when you're talking about economics. And so your numbers have to be right. You have to see how it benefits them as well as you. Otherwise, they're not going for it, because it's about getting your piece of the pie. I'm over here listening to every 4 years during the administration, every other 4 years, they bring out Social Security. I'm on Social Security. And if you are the age 64 or over and you're not on it, you need to get on it, especially if you own your own business, because they finna run out of money on your ass. You better get in on the ground floor. I'm trying to tell y'all what's good out here. You don't know what it is, but I want to hear you all talk about reparations. I want to know how important it is to you. The California thing they said is going to go across. I know New York is replicating that. My thing is this. If New York gets it, it's gravy. And hey, I ain't mad at nobody getting the bag. Same with New York. What them folk down in Mississippi gonna do? Well, y'all forgot about that. I just want to hear what y'all got to say. And I'm going to beat around the bush before I tell you what I'm going through with this rally. So let's talk about reparations.
All right. All right. Thank you. No taxation, and she's gonna get into the actual reparation rally, I guess, in a little bit. She's trying to hear what everybody got to say up in the space as well, too. So let me give a quick shout out again to my man Trenton. Trenton, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. We definitely want to hear about the actual reparation rally as well, too. We got a bunch of people in the space tonight, so y'all make sure y'all come on up here. And like I said, tonight we're talking about two different topics, both involving reparations. The rally that's going to be the Juneteenth Father's Day weekend, and also we're talking about the why do most Americans oppose reparation? And by most Americans, we know most Black people support it, but the other groups, majority of the white folks, they don't. We know they don't support it, and the other groups as well too, the Latinos and the Asians, which should be a surprise to nobody. But there's your minority coalition that everybody fights so hard for. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna go to Fred, and I'm gonna go to Dana, and I'm gonna get to you, Volvo. Fred, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Well, Dana was actually first.
Oh, was Dana first? Okay. Well, Dana, you got it. How you doing tonight?
Hey, oh, I didn't know if I was next.
I thought Fred was actually first, but hey,
yeah, I thought so too.
yeah, I swore he came up first, but he said it was you. So,
No.
But ladies first. Ladies first.
Yeah, good space as always tonight. Newstoter. It's interesting topic, but it's a couple of things and I think a lot of people are going to be saying a lot of things tonight with reparations because it's not just one thing when we talk about reparations. But I just want to comment on a couple of things that I heard so far with people saying that there are some white people who just don't know. They just don't know what. They don't know that slavery never existed here in America, because if they know that, then they know the concept of reparations. They just don't agree, or they just don't know how reparations will be dispersed. Is it a tax thing? They don't know the politics behind it, so to say, or they just don't agree that Black people should get it. But they know. So I don't give people, whether you white, Black, or I don't give people excuses unless you just choose not to do any type of reading or understanding of American history, because we are America. We are America history. So they don't get a pass whether they know or not. And who cares? Who cares if other people do not support reparations for ADOS? We don't need other people's support, because other groups who received it did not need the support of other people. They needed the support of their congressional politicians. And I do agree, Black people need to go to this the Capitol, sit with your congressional member who you voted, because Congress is made up of people who we voted in our state. So go to Capitol, go to their office, talk to them, have them go to their office in your state that where you voted at for these people, because they have an office in their state where they need to be majority of the time than in DC. We have a congressional Black caucus that's 56 members. No laws that's without that voting block. So why are we not putting pressure on those 56 members? So before any white politician, and whether you white, Black, it doesn't matter, but just stand on Black right now, why are we not making sure that the 56 Black politicians that make up the Congressional Black Caucus are not saying yay for reparations and helping push that agenda? Because they're not doing it. So we're standing in our own way, not white person, not immigrants, not the illegals. We are. And yeah, it does go back to education. A lot of people say a lot of things on how reparations, how much we should get or what we should get. And I've been having recent conversations with Judge Joe Brown, and from a legal standpoint, he is a judge. He's saying that it really should not be race-based. But when we talk about reparations, the first thing we say is Black or Black Americans. Or particularly the reason why I prefer to use that hashtag ADOS, because it's not race-based. American descendants of slavery. Well, who qualifies for that? So, I'm going to land right now until, I raise my hand again. But I think this is a conversation we definitely need to keep having, but we also need action. And yes, we need to put pressure on your congressional politicians. That's it for now.
All right. Thank you, Dana. Thank you. Thank you. Let me go ahead and go to Fred. Fred, go ahead and unmute your mic. Hey, DJ, are you there? Real quick, Fred? Hey, DJ, are you there? DJ might not be there, but go ahead, Fred. You got it.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. The reason why most Americans. Bro, go ahead, go Fred. I'm just driving. That's all.
Oh, that's cool. Go ahead. Go ahead, Fred.
All right. The reason why most Americans oppose reparations, the full title should be for Black Americans. That's because, number one, you have to understand that whenever we talk about these anti-Black races, which is most of white America, most of the whites that claim to be Jewish, most of the immigrants that come over here, the reason why they oppose it, for one, is because they come from a background and lineage of slave masters and freeloaders. That's just the plain simple fact. And then number two, they know that once it's acknowledged and it has to start being paid, so many of them have such a sick, demented, anti-Black background that so many different factions, like the banks, you'll find a lot of insurance companies that were also complicit in it, and they want to try to dodge their responsibility and what they owe. So when it comes to why so many of these immigrants, which is everybody except us, the reason why they oppose reparations for Black Americans, descendants of U.S. slavery, is because they come from a background of slave masters and freeloaders. Now I'm mute.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Fred. Let me go ahead and get to Volvo. Volvo, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I just want to say, brother, I got a little bit upset because that was ridiculous. That guy was saying. I apologize, but we got to watch the ops too. That guy obviously an op. He obviously don't know his lineage. He talking about you can't find people because they under lakes and all that shit. That sounds like somebody that heard our stories and now he's just throwing out anything. And you can't trace back none of your ancestors and you've been in this country for since the minimum 160 years, and you can't trace back none of your 4 grandparents, none of your 8 great grandparents. Come on, man. How these people sound, man? You know what I mean? And then when the guy said these people oppose it because they don't know, like who living under a rock? And something else he said was something about slavery. Slavery is just where it started. Reparations is for the Black American story. Slavery is just where it started. That's why we start with slavery. That's just where it started. It was tons of other shit after that. So if you came to this country after the slavery, you signed up for something. We didn't sign up for nothing. That's why I was getting frustrated. Like Ray Charles can see that guy was a op. He was an op. He was faking. You can hear it in his voice. You can hear his accent. I land my plane though, brother.
All right. Real quick, we got a speaker coming up. So anybody who's not from the speak right now that's in the speaker section, go ahead and drop down. I'll bring you back up. We're trying to go ahead. We got a couple speakers that want to come up. So if you're not going to speak right now, then go ahead and drop down and we'll bring you back up and allow you to speak because we got a loaded right now. It's pretty loaded. So for those who are not speaking right now, go ahead and drop down.
Let me just butt in real quick, Newstoter, and because I want to make sure we stay where we need to be. White folks really don't know about the worst form of enslavement, because that's what it is. That in the history of the world, now they don't know that. They know slavery, but all countries have slavery, even some now, and they're taught that. But they're not taught about our particular slavery. and they don't want to know. They don't want to know. And most white folks, they don't read. Trust me when I tell you, when I worked with black folks in poverty down south, it was more white folks in poverty than black folks. How about that? Our poverty was worse, but there were more whites in poverty than black folks. And as far as that poll NPR you read, I'd be interested in knowing who answered their poll. And I'm gonna put something up because some people are saying differently about how whites feel about reparations. And I'm gonna send it over if DJ is or Professor, I can, because y'all know I don't know how to work the technology stuff, but I can send it over to them and they can post it. And
send it over since I posted.
Okay, thank you. And Dana said she reiterated what I said. Now we done told y'all. You got to be on the Hill. You have to be on the Hill. You have to be on the Hill. You have to press your congressperson. It don't matter who they are. And you need to meet with the Senate offices in your hometown because you can go there once a week. See? And worry the shit out of them so that way when people come home, they'll be expecting you. That's how you do it. Peep game. And I'm on mute.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Real quick, I want to add this real quick. And I know, and I know what everybody's saying to a certain degree, and I can agree with what you're saying. No taxation. At the same time, I can agree with Dana's saying there is a certain segment of white folks doing slavery time. You had poor white folks that didn't own slaves, so they may not have understood the full complexity of what slavery was. But at the same time, white folks, they know about slavery. You know why? Because they pride themselves on being the best record keepers in the world. They pride themselves on being the best historians in the world. They pride themselves. They were so bad how they treated black people over here that the damn Nazis went over there and imitated how to do the Jews like that. So they know.
He came over here and got all the lessons, didn't he?
Yeah.
I got the book. But Dana said something even more powerful than that. Guess what she said too, and I'm gonna put it in my words, not Dana's, because she's far more eloquent than I am. And y'all that know me know that I'm not eloquent, especially when I'm fired up. We don't give a fuck what they know. How about that?
Yeah, and not only that, but I'm gonna add one to even further. White folks like to play dumb as well too. They like to pretend. They like to act. They like to act like they don't know what's going on when actually they do know what's going on. They're some of the greatest actors that the world's ever produced. They know damn well exactly what went on in this country because they were proud about how they were able to hold their niggas in bondage and how they was able to break their niggas and how they was able to keep their niggas subservient and everything else. So they know. They can pretend and sit up here and, oh God, we didn't know what is. Yeah, you knew exactly what happened on them plantations because these white folks in the South, you couldn't tell them that they wasn't American, they weren't American royalty, that they weren't kings on those plantations. You couldn't tell them that they weren't kings and queens. They knew exactly what went on.
The ones on the hill for sure know. That we can put our
even what we call a poor white trash, they took solace in understanding that, hey, we might be poor, we might not ever have nothing, but at least I'm better than a nigga. That's
what they talk there. But see, I'm on Dana's wagon. It don't matter no way. The only thing that matters is the people that got the money. They ain't got enough money for us. They ain't got no money. Truth to tell, all white folks right now is poor. How about that?
Well, if they poor, that we at the soup kitchen, because even
you gotta say it, waiting on the bus to come by.
Yeah. Because you look at the white folks that struggled with the Great Depression and everything else. When economic times this country hit a downturn, as bad as white folks had it, black folks really had it bad. I don't want to hog the space up because I know we got a bunch of hands up. So let me go ahead, and I know Rella is up next as well too. So let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic. Fred, I see you coming up here, but we're going to have a speaker drop down before we can bring you back up here. So anybody that's not speaking that now, no taxation, she's going to stay up here because she is the speaker for the night on the DC reparations rally. So she's not going anywhere. But anybody that's not speaking at this point in time, and everybody's got their hands up. Darren, I don't know if you're going to speak or not, but if you're not going to speak, then we can bring you back up here.
Hey, we can drop down the lady with the caucasoid hand. We can drop her down.
No, we're going to let Dana stay up here. Let's go. Let's.
Newstoter, you might be able to send no taxation a co-host. I've seen spaces now that have 3 co-hosts. See if you can.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. She's not.
Suggestion to give him more space on the stage. That's all.
But that's cool for right now. But we'll work it out though. Go ahead, Rella.
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing good. What's up, Rella?
Hey, so I actually wanted to do 3 things. I wanted to shout out J.G. Burgess. Some people don't know who's in a room, and a lot of people just be talking. They don't know who is actually in the room and who be on the ground and where people are from. But when you are around and you've been around, you recognize people who have a little bit of pull in your space. And I want to shout out what he was saying, because he wasn't saying that he didn't know him himself. If you ever listened or been in any of Chris Friday, Chad, NAASD spaces, you would have heard JG speak. You would have found out who he was. But some people, again, are just coming on, or they're from fraction groups. So, they're just coming on into a collective mindset, even with their opinions. And I want to put this, and I want to caution people and say this. Reparations for our lineage, for the American descendant, whether you understand the full history or you are like me, who is a practicing practitioner in the realm of history, or if you are someone who themselves are just new to this, you'll understand that there are a lot of nuances that go into the understanding of history versus politics are not in alignment, and they're not always the same. You do have a lot of ignorant people running around. And when I say ignorant, I don't say it to be offensive in this regard on this stage, even though I have used it to be disregarding of some people. But in this manner, ignorant to the fact that people are not fully aware of all of the nuances that went on with slavery, the Great Depression, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and the like, when you move on through the eras of time. But when we talk about politics has not changed in a sense of the people who created the system just evolved. They just moved people in position. And they got our ancestors out of position. A lot of our ancestors out of slavery, during Reconstruction actually were a part of the government heavily. But if you didn't study that or you didn't read to get that awareness, you wouldn't even know that. The freedmen information is prevalent to this conversation. The Negro conversation, the Black conversation, the African American conversation is prevalent. It's just, where do these things land in the context of reparations? And that's where we have to be graceful, or sometimes easy, when we're talking to each other, because we're all not in the same lane of understanding. Even myself, I always tell myself I have to caution, because I know I'll get upset too, because I'm like, why don't people know this stuff? Well, because a lot of people are not, or don't have the time, or they're not interested, because life is happening, poverty is happening, sickness is happening, things are happening. They're being told that they should vote this way, vote that way, or people are dealing with homelessness. I mean, there's so many things that happen to individuals that keep them away from grasping the information in its entirety, so they can get to the point where they understand the parallel of politics and history, and how much has been hidden, and how much is actually known by the people who actually control the strings. I do agree with Dana when she talks about being in the offices and being downtown in DC and no taxation. No, like, that's a jewel right there. If you don't know who she is, you need to get to know who she is, because you have to understand how to move in politics, and you want people that have that experience to help bring that to light for all of us who are just coming into this realm. And people who are on the ground, people who are in particular organizations, who are actually sacrificing time away from their families, these are people that you want to follow. These are to start to have the we can actually peel back the layers of the onion. Reparations are due whether or not anyone in America, immigrant or non-immigrant, understands. When the Europeans, the Germans that came over prior to them changing their name into the Ashkenazi Jewish name, they did not have to get an understanding of the consensus of the entire America, for America to actually participate in granting reparations because of America's participation in providing military weapons to Germany during the Holocaust. So if you want to know why they got reparations, you need to read that part of history. They didn't care whether or not we understood or cared. They didn't even care that slavery happened way longer than the Holocaust. But they got their money. They came over here, as they claim, with nothing. But that's not true. And then I also want to say that our reparations are going to be due, and they have to be due. We have to be the ones to put the pressure on them. And we also have to be in spaces where we are moving the needle in all of the information being proposed and being realistic. I know a lot of people with the ADO West and the SBA. I'm not knocking anybody who champions SBA or ADOS in its terms, but you have to be able to prove those things in legislation in regards to meeting with people who you're talking about that would go and fight for us at the Supreme Court level, who would go and fight for us at the legislative level in Congress. So that means you're going to start talking about things that were actually for us in history that has been already known. The term African American, all those things. Where did those things take place? And then within that, as we've been doing, we all have been delineating, we all have been redefining what it is and who we want to actually be coined in terms. And if you can get to that point, now you need to start sharing that with the public. Because even with our politics, I have learned that our candidates that champion reparations, like Marcel, like Tamara, like William Somerville, they did not get the support they needed because people didn't want to vote for them. They didn't want to get the support they didn't get the support they needed because people did not understand. And that's what JG was talking about. You have a community of people that were asking to go to Washington, get in their senators' faces, or go in your state, go talk to your politicians. They wouldn't even know what to say. They would just be like, "Oh, we need reparations," and the people up there would be like, "Well, what do you mean and how? And who are you?" You got to get prepared. This is not a cakewalk. This is a war game. You have to put on your full armor. Full armor.
Can I just butt in real quick?
Hey, real quick too. We're gonna hold on real quick, because we got a bunch of hands up. So I'm gonna give the speakers 3 minutes each to speak, so we can go ahead and get it around the room.
Okay, well
let me let Rella go ahead and land it real quick, and then go ahead.
Let me land it, and I'll gracefully definitely bow, because this is definitely something that Jean is definitely the curator for me. And I'm gonna say this: I'm always and foremost always going to be for the Black American, the descendants, the American descendants of slaves, the foundational people, but I'm always going to stand for truth in how information is utilized and what is uncovered. That cannot be thrown away. So reparations today, tomorrow, it should have been yesterday, and I'll land there. Thank you guys so much. I do have some other information, but I can share it later after. And so I'll just hold, or if you need me to drop down Newstoter to make room, I can come back.
Well, I don't see anybody requesting to speak right now, but like I said, for those that don't have their hands up, and there's a couple people up in the space, we're gonna go ahead. When somebody comes up there, if you guys don't drop down, then I will go ahead and drop you down myself, because just in case, because we had a bunch of other people. But let me go ahead. Go ahead, no taxation. You want to go ahead and say something real quick?
I just want to say right after what Brother said when she was talking about going to your offices, the time and money you spend going to your state office, you could have been to a national office right there in your hometown, baby, somewhere in your state. Press a little bit higher is all I'm trying to tell you. She's right. Go. You can go right there to your home state offices, okay, and probably get better. Make them your friend, and I'm gonna let you go on this day.
Okay, real quick, guys. I want to say up in the Jumbotron, we have the YouTube channel up in there. We have the Newstoter YouTube channel. For those that have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe to it. It's the third one in the middle. It's the third one on the right-hand side. So please go ahead and subscribe to that if you can. For those that can support us on Cash App, it's $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American-owned news media curation platform today in America. As all spaces, we try to at least get $5 in donations. For those that can donate, we definitely appreciate it. If you have $1 or $2 that you don't mind contributing or donating to a Black-owned, Black American-owned news media platform, please go ahead and please support us if you can. That's for those that can. $1 or $2, that's all we're asking. We're not asking for anything more. We understand our people are in financial crisis. So if you can, we definitely greatly appreciate it. If you do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron as well. For those on YouTube, the Cash App and the Venmo and PayPal is in the description. Once again, that is $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Let me go ahead and get to Miss T real quick. Miss T, let me give a shout out to Taylor as well too. Taylor, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get to Miss T. Miss T, how you doing tonight? Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter, I am well. Thank you for asking. Hello to the two co-hosts, DJ and Patches. What's up, Patches?
What's up, Miss T?
I do want to give a little pushback on the fact that people are assuming that everybody knows about the horrors of slavery here in America. I'm speaking for myself and the people that I meet probably weekly, and I talk with them, and they have no idea. People didn't have anything, a lot of knowledge about slavery in America until they saw Roots. Let's just be honest. You didn't know because it wasn't taught to you in school. You didn't know about women being raped. Yeah, I just found out about the men being raped in my 30s. Never even crossed my mind. About bodies being ripped apart, tied between two horses, about children being raped and hair being used as pillow stuffings, and we didn't know the horrors. So if I just found out some of these things, and then look at yourself, do you know more today than you did 10 years ago about slavery, or hell, even about reparations? What about 5 years ago? Are you not more knowledgeable now than you were 5 years ago? So I do think there needs to be an educational component, and the white people know that too. That's why they're fighting so very hard against it. We do need to be lobbying. We need to be up there. If we can't afford actual lobbyists, maybe we should start a fund to have our best speakers go up to the Senate or whatever on a weekly basis, and maybe we cover their expenses, such as hotel expenses and food. and they, go home on the weekends and things like that. That's something that we can consider putting our money into. And I think Muffet, who's in the room, or he was in the room, is going to have a space during the reparations rally where we can kind of put a think tank together to come up with avenues for us in this battle. Two more things. California, Newstoter, if you can get in touch with Asan sometime, because I think it'll be great to do another space with her team. They've come up with an additional strategy, and California is probably going to get what they're asking for, because if you notice, they're not actually asking for reparations for slavery. They're asking for reparations for the harms done to people. Because when you look at it, slavery was actually legal in America. And that's why it seems as though we're getting a lot of pushback on actually suing for actual slavery. They come up with that, well, no one here was actually a slave and all of that kind of stuff. And slavery was legal, but all of the shit that we had to go through after slavery was no longer legal, those are fair game. And if we look at those groups who have sought repair for the United States government and were awarded repair, they won because it was against the law what was done to them. Was slavery against the law as a whole in the United States? That's something, that can be discussed. But if we want to get some money, we need to learn from other groups and how they are actually being a success. Now, we were harmed a lot. We have a lot of things that we can ask for repair for, and we will be doing that. And lastly, Cori Bush today submitted a reparations resolution on the Hill. We can't find it. Well, we couldn't find it earlier. We want to know what it says. I know Barbara Lee did a thank you to her for coming up with this reparations resolution. We need to read it, y'all. So if anybody finds it, let's kind of share it around and make sure it's not some in-cobra narc BS. I'll keep my mouth clean, Newstoter, because of YouTube. But it's a lot going on. We do need to be up there lobbying, but we need to make sure we're lobbying for things that we can actually win. And no taxation. I hope your Mother's Day was great, and I'm so happy you have put together this rally. I can't wait, and I am ready. I'm ready for the fight. Thank you, Newstoter, for the space.
Okay, thank you, Miss T. I'm gonna go ahead and give a shout out to Thayus. Thank you for your contribution on Thayus. Thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Everybody, I'm going to go ahead and try to get the new speakers I see up here as well too. I'm going to go ahead and let the new speakers get a chance to speak, and then we'll go back into the actual order. I'm going to go Black Majority State, Darren, and Bless, and we're going to go that order right there, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get back to the speakers. Let's go ahead and try to keep this thing as much as possible to 3 minutes, guys, so we can go ahead and give them a chance to go ahead and speak as well. So, Black Majority, how you doing tonight?
Hello, sir. How are you tonight? I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir. I can hear you. How you doing tonight?
All right, good. Your voice is glitching a little bit for me. I'm doing pretty good. Shout out to TJ and Patches. So I got a couple quick points about the DC reparations, why most Americans opposed that part of it. So what I wanted to say was this: the percentage has actually increased. I put a couple things down in the chat box in the space, but in 2002, the people who were for it was 14%, and today it's nearly 38%. So it actually is trending in the right direction. It almost tripled in 20 years or so. So the momentum is shifting towards our direction, which is a great thing. Right now, and this has just started today, but it really comes out of Biden going to Howard and talking about white supremacy. So this is their new narrative. This is their new version of Get Your Booty to the Polls, where they're going to talk about white supremacy, and this is leading up to the 2024 election. But now I posted a video where Jamal Bowman was talking about white supremacy, and then Cori Bush is now out there talking about reparations for Black America, $14 trillion, which sounds very close to Dr. Darity's number. So this is the same carrot that they've been dangling out every election cycle. They did it in the midterms. They said way back in like 2022, in the summertime, that they had the votes, it was going to the floor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It never happened. And here they are now pulling it out way before 2024 as a carrot. So keep pay attention to that. But then I want to shout out Miss Stacia Hall, because Biden, even though he signed on, he said he's gonna veto legislation that DC put in to reform the police. This was the most extensive police reform ever in the history of the country in DC, that the DC mayor and their council put in place. The Republicans put up legislation to kill it, and Biden said he's going to sign it. So take that in for what it's worth, right? Because you have Biden, who supposedly is for Black Americans. I'm in this whole Biden boycott thing, and I'm getting all this back and forth about Biden's better than the Republicans, et cetera, et cetera. However, here he is killing this police reform that all of the last 2 or 3 years was all about, and even further back. Also, to Stacia Hall, she is suing DC. She's a part of 7 people that are suing DC to stop illegals from voting in DC, because Biden and the Democrats weren't going to stop that. So shout out to Stacia Hall for standing up and, for her city and trying to stop these illegals from voting here. But in my opinion, yes, it's trending in the right direction, but the Democrats cannot be trusted. Just so we know, because this propaganda is going to start being pushed out by the machine. Out and with that.
All right. Thank you. What you was going to say, Professor?
I was just going to tell everybody that I put the article up there about is it Representative Cori Bush on her resolution. It's up in the Jumbotron.
Also, what I'm going to do for the speakers that have already spoke, I'm going to drop you guys down just in case, because we had a couple of people trying to come up. I see Black, he dropped down. Miss T, I'm going to go ahead and drop you down. She's already dropped down. Trenton, are you speaking? If you're speaking, go ahead and raise your hand. If not, I'll ask you just to free up the spot, because we got some people that have been trying to come up in. A couple people, I guess they got tired of trying to wait. But if anybody in the speaker spot that's not going to speak right now, just go ahead and drop down and then request to come back up when you guys actually want to speak, because we've had a number of people trying to get in, but they couldn't get in. So we want to go ahead and get those that want to speak a chance to actually speak. Bless was just up here, but I guess Bless dropped down. So Darren, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Let me throw some politics in here, some Black politics real quick, okay? Because he said Cori.
Hey, no taxation. You really low.
Please, I got you.
Yeah, you really low. You're really low though. You need to speak up a little bit louder.
Can you hear me now?
Pretty much about the same.
Okay, Cori Bush. Let me just holler. Cori Bush took Lacey Clay's seat. Lacey Clay is the one who got the seat before his father. It was passed down like Clyburn. But Lacey Clay was a good guy on the Democratic side. Lacey Clay was for reparations, and he tried to push it on the Hill. Very few people would speak to him. He must have got to Cori Bush because this is not her. She's a Nancy Pelosi girl. Watch her. Here. That's all.
All right. Let me go ahead and get to Darren. Darren, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak in this space.
Hey Darren, you kind of low. Do you have any earplugs in anything?
No, I don't actually. I'm just speaking right into my phone.
Okay, I can hear you better now. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to reiterate what Patches, Dana, and I believe it was Miss T who had mentioned lobbying as a part of garnering support inside of Congress for reparations. One of the things that the Asian group did, or the coalition, if you could call it that, to get Governor DeSantis to sign the bill mandating the teaching of AAPI history was effective lobbying. Asian people make up a smaller portion of the population than we do, but they somehow have a more effective lobby. And I think it was Ms. T who mentioned funding lobbyist organizations for freedmen, descendants of slaves, whatever you want to call us. That is an alternative, but there are also grassroots options where we can do a lot of this stuff for free. If we can find out our local representatives or build chapters of organizations that already exist, like the NAACP. I know a lot of people don't mess with them, and maybe there's a lot of negative attention toward them in recent times in regards to reparations, but other organizations that are already doing some of the work, we can push those organizations in the right direction and make them work for us locally. Another thing I wanted to say is about education. It is true that, unfortunately, a lot of people don't know about why reparations are important, specifically for Black Americans. People in California may think, well, hey, there were no slaves here. But it was a fact that there were restrictive covenants that specifically targeted Black Americans, that excluded Black Americans from opening businesses and renting homes in neighborhoods that were closer to their work. You know, you had factories in San Francisco when they were first developing suburbs. You had a lot of people who came back from World War II that needed those jobs in those factories. And even when they were hired, they couldn't find places that would be willing to rent to them in San Francisco. So they had to commute sometimes hours outside of their working locations. And that was a tax on them just being Black and existing and having to secure jobs in San Francisco. So people don't know about things like that. I found that out in my graduate program. I did not know about that in my undergrad or even in my K through 12 education, because unfortunately, civics in most states has been affected by a lot of these local laws in terms of funding. So if you don't have a good education system in your city or state as it is, chances are your awareness of some of these things is going to be affected. So we have to keep in mind that education is another component to reparations that we should be figuring out how to fight for, like the Asian organization did for the AAPI history. We've got to start with that in our states, spread it out. If there's something that works in Florida, Illinois, New York, copy and paste that and apply that to places like Missouri, Alabama, Texas, etc. But that's all I wanted to say. I think we should consider lobbying and education as a part of reparations as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Darren. Appreciate that. Up in the Jumbotron, guys, we got about 80 people up in the space. We hadn't got anybody to subscribe to the YouTube channel tonight. The third on the right-hand side, all you got to do while this space is going on is just click this, and the third on the right-hand side in the Jumbotron, go over to YouTube. You can listen to the space while you go ahead and subscribe. Let's see if we can get what the amount of people we got in the space tonight. I know everybody that's in here. Some of you guys are not in here all the time. So for those that's not in here, let's go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is free. That is free. We need support. We want to go ahead and get these type of issues out there. News, so if anybody knows on there, most of you guys are following us. You know the type of content we put out daily. We need not only that, but we need people to visit the website every day as well, too. I know people say, well, it's not an app. That don't matter. You go to other sites and stuff like that, especially white-owned sites. We can support white-owned business. We can support white-owned content. We can support white-owned publishers and everything else. We can support a Black curator as well, too. We especially can support the Black largest curator in America, so the largest Black American-owned curator. So It takes nothing for you guys to do in the space right now. While the space is going on, while people are talking and conversating, you can go ahead and go right over to YouTube. While the space, you're not going to leave. Just go over there, click in the Jumbotron, the third on the right-hand side, where it says, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go over there, click and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Over 200 some odd videos, you guys, we record these spaces and we upload them. Right now, we're live streaming on YouTube right now. So please go over there and support Black-owned business. That's all you have to do. That's free. It's nothing. It's one thing we ask if you can contribute on Cash App or PayPal or Venmo. It's another thing we say, can you just subscribe to the YouTube channel, which costs you absolutely nothing. All you have to do is, while this space is going on, is click up in the Jumbotron, click on the third on the right-hand side, go to YouTube, click subscribe, and you come right back and you're listening to the space. You don't miss a beat. So we need that. We need that support from our people as well. And we also need people that's up in this space that support the spaces every night to go over to newstoter.com daily and visit the site. No reason why people that's in the space, normally our spaces average 100 and some odd people at least a night. No reason for everybody in the space not to visit the site at least once a day. Let's go ahead and go to Trenton was up here, but I don't see Trenton anymore. Let me go to Bless. We're gonna go to Bless and we're gonna go to Tammy. Go ahead, Bless, you got it.
Hey, thanks. Peace and reparations, family. So the thing is, understand that our nation has done a great job at not only miseducating the Negro, but at the same time, the veil of white supremacy has been painted so well that a lot of white folks, air quote, don't even understand the full depth. Everyone knows slavery existed, but the reason they're so nonchalant about it is because they don't know every gruesome detail. You have a few of the ones who are in the South, the rednecks, the Confederates, whose family history has been passed down to you. But for the most part, you have to remember, majority of these white folks are white immigrants. They haven't even been in the country longer than 80 years as a family. So, of course, they don't care nor know the true history. So I know y'all like to believe that they do. But I'm telling you, I've been having these conversations for about 3 years now with these folks on apps and off apps in real life. And a lot of them don't know. Because a good key point of that is the things they say are easily debunked. So it's rebuttals. It's always the same rebuttals with all of them. So that's how I know it's not only a Fox News propaganda thing, but the miseducation, just what they think, is usually wrong and it's easily debunked. Dr. Darity has it in the back of his book, but I've minimized them and shortened it to my liking. But it's really it's a disservice, because if everyone knew, and this has been my mission, if everyone knows the education of what truly has happened to us in this country and what the United States government has done, then it's an undeniable justice claim. And that's why they don't want it to get out. Because if everything was put out for real, just in a short 3-minute little movie, it's way deeper than just the enslavement. And it's a chain reaction of our inheritance being robbed from us, because it's 244 years of free labor, which we did not receive. And it's just so much. The environmental racism, et cetera, I'm sure we all know. But we got to understand, they know it at the surface, but they don't know the full depths. No immigrant does. A lot of Black Americans don't even know and really grasp it. That's why we have to have education campaigns. And that's what I'm about, is teaching our people. And that's why we still get pushback from a lot of our family who's Black American, but they still on the Democrat train because they don't get it. And we like, no, where the tangibles at? My vote is for sale. So this is what we have to worry about. I was caught off guard because I wasn't ready. I fell out the room. So I'll land there for now. Hopefully I can speak later again. Thanks.
All right, appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get to Tammy. Tammy, how you doing tonight? Go ahead and unmute your mic.
I'm doing good. How's everybody? Thank you, Newstoter. Hey, DJ. Hey, everybody. I agree with Miss T, half-half, because I did learn a lot. I wasn't checking for reparations. I knew they owed us something, but I did not know the depth of the misinformation that the government puts out. And I think that we we have got to get on the same page about calling it out when we see it, correcting it when we see it. The other thing is, they know enough about what has gone on since they've been here to know that we have been, mistreated, dismissed, minimized, because we talk about it every day. Enough of them get on Fox News. They want to learn that. I had to learn it myself. I'll teach my people. You teach your people. But it is just horrible that a lot of the people, when you hear, no, you don't deserve it, they ain't read anything. They've not researched. They've not done one thing to justify. They just don't want to lose their spot. And it's sad that it's this big competition. It's plenty of money. Plenty. But they don't want to lose their spot. And that's the sad part, that we got to go back and forth over things. And for us, it's not things. It's hurtful. It traumatized us. We never going to get over that. Ever. And I have one more thing to say, but I need to pull up the post down. I posted. But even to this day, they still talk about Black people. National Institute of Health did this research on Black people about health disparities and really saying that we caused it on ourselves. I'm going to post that. And y'all, it made me so upset because how dare y'all, after Henrietta Lacks, y'all done made billions of dollars, and you going to come back and tell us about health disparities? And then, all the stuff they done to Black people medically. It just incensed me. But they do it all the time with that Black research. We need to get our own research institute. Do our own research so we'll know it's done, properly. But I'm going to post it.
All right. Thank you, Tammy. Let me give a shout out to Merle. Merle just donated on PayPal. Thank you, Merle. I appreciate that. Merle's one of our YouTube listeners. We ain't got many YouTube listeners, but Merle's a pretty dedicated listener. So appreciate that, Merle. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000. We're not there. So we need everybody's help to help us get there. We're pushing it. We're doing all we can. So thank you. We appreciate that, Merle. Let me say this real quick because I'm going to go ahead and go get back to our speakers and stuff as well. I know people like to always criticize Roots. They say, well, Alex Haley, he plagiarized and he took that away from this person and he took it from the African and that really wasn't his story and this and that or whatever. I watched Roots when I was that I could really understand it because my mom and dad used to watch it when I was a little kid. You 5, 6, 7 years old, you're not paying any attention. But by the time I was in 6th grade, I saw Roots. And, that was over 30 some odd years ago. I saw Roots. And let's just say from the censored version that you saw on TV, because Roots came out, in 76, 77 or whatever. I wasn't even born at the time. I had to understand exactly at that time, when I saw Kizzy in the cabin with Tom Moore and Tom Moore taking advantage of her. And then next thing you got Chicken George, and my mom said, well, yeah, that's how you got the white in your family. This came out, and let's not play like we don't know and white folks don't know. Roots was one of the most popular miniseries in the history of television. I don't know how many tens of millions of people watch Roots. So we're sitting up in 2023, and even if we say Roots was just a scaled down version of history on the plantations in American history, many of white folks saw Roots, just like many of Black folks saw Roots. And they had a basic understanding of what happened on them plantations. They understood that if Black people act up, they got their ass whooped. They got sold. They got their family sold. The women got taken advantage of. The men and the women got their damn limbs cut off and stuff like that. So I'm hearing a lot of things, people saying that, people didn't know this and that. Look, I didn't know until about 10 years ago that black babies was being fed by alligators here in the state of Florida where I live at. But I did find that out. Now you got people that's supposed to be the best researchers on earth, people that can sit up here and tell you how old the universe is by carbon dating and everything. People can tell you how old the earth is, when mountain ranges was founded, how long this species of earth, this species of animals been on earth. Yet all of a sudden they don't know. You know, when I was looking at some of those civil rights videos back in the 60s, and they were showing the people in Mississippi, and they were showing some of these rednecks in Mississippi, and the men up there saying, ain't nobody doing nothing to them niggers, ain't nobody doing nothing to them niggers. And you had this one white lady came up there talking about, yeah, they do treat our niggers pretty bad down here back in the 60s. So yeah, there's some white people that didn't know exactly the horrors, every single solitary thing that went on in those plantations. But there are a lot of dirt poor white folks that knew exactly what went on in plantations because they were related to other white folks. They were related to overseers. They were related to owners, the plantation owners. Even if they didn't particularly own slaves themselves, they knew about it. They heard about it. They was at family reunions. They were at cookouts. They were at the bars. They was at all these other places and stuff like that. They heard about it. They knew about it. They knew exactly what black people went through on those plantations. And that's not to say every white person in the country owned slaves, because we know the vast majority of them didn't, but a whole bunch of them knew exactly what went on with that. They knew exactly what went on in the mistreatment that black people was dealing with in this country. They knew about it in slavery time. They knew about it in Reconstruction. Henceforth, how many of them were related to damn Klansmen? Henceforth, the Ku Klux Klan popping up. They knew about it in the Civil Rights Movement. They know about it now. They'll sit up here now, and you got white folks to tell you now, well, you know, why are black people so mad? Why are they so upset? You know, the police don't just go around just beating on innocent people. They'll sit up here and tell you this stuff right now. They were saying this is if we were kids in the 90s when Rodney King got his brains rattled. Well, you know, police don't just go up there and they'll just beat up on innocent people. You had to be doing something and this and that. So the whole thing that, hey, you know, these good white folks, they don't know this and they don't know that yet. These good white folks are supposed to be the smartest people ever born. They know all the history. They know this and that or whatever. I kind of find it hard to believe. Maybe they don't know every single solitary horror that went on in those plantations, but God damn it, they know enough. They know enough because it was passed down to their family as a damn family heirloom. They know about it. They set up there. They brought kids to those damn lynchings and everything else sitting up there. They had their white wives sitting up there while they was castrating men, putting their damn penises in the damn storefront of these stores and stuff like that. Damn if they don't know that. They certainly know that. Just like all of us have been told that there's been a relative in our family that wouldn't go put up with that nonsense and had to check some of these white folks and had to get their hands dirty and had to up in the middle of the night pack their family up and leave town so they wouldn't be lynched. You know, because I've heard that story since I was 5 or 6 years old. So yeah, we know. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. No taxation. I'm gonna get to you, sister. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, sister. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I got no taxation. I got you. Hold on 1 second. So they know. They know because we've been held down. We've been passed down enough horror stories of ourselves. And yeah, there's a lot of things our family members didn't feel like regurgitating and telling us, but they told us enough that we know. So damn if they don't know. They know, and they've always known. You go ahead, no taxation.
It's gonna take you and those that think like you and know K and O them like you from down south to get it done. How about that? Because that's where it started and that's where it began and that's where it has to end. And you just listen, put me in check. You right, they probably do damn know. And I knew before you they was feeding black babies to the alligators because the white boys down in Florida told me so. So you right. I didn't know it until about 1994, 95, something like that. Them white boys down in the panhandle of Florida told me. So he ain't telling no lie, y'all. He ain't telling no lie. Trust and believe that, because the white boys told me that. First time I ever heard a white man call a black man a nigger was in the panhandle of Florida around some military bases. How about that? So he ain't told y'all no lie. But listen, when I tell you all that it's done got deep out here, it's done got deeper than that. That's really where we are. They can't feed us to the alligators no more. It's two little black boys in Harlem missing. They dragging the river now. I don't know where them boys at. Two little old black boys. 11 and 12, something like that. They hang out. You know how kids do. They was friends hanging out. They ain't found them in 5 days. It took them 3 days for the white folks to tell us that they was missing. That's what we up against. And so y'all got to understand what he was talking about. Yeah, and then what's going on in here with these kids missing. Yes, all of it. We in bad shape, y'all, and I can't tell y'all how much bad shape that we in. And I can't tell y'all how many death threats that I've got behind this thing here. And how many people have tried to come at me with some bullshit. Scammers. My boyfriend is a Nigerian, and loved one or something is a Nigerian. No, he got some Nigerian mind somewhere. And but he was born and raised in the UK. And I live right here in America. I ain't gonna say the state because then I have to call people out. And I'm not trying to do that. Y'all know I don't get down like that. And if you just get him out of prison, jail, or wherever they take the people whose paperwork ain't correct and got a darker skin, he'll pay you 3 times $17,000. I said I wouldn't be the one to help you with that. Y'all don't understand what's out here in these streets. And me putting myself out here, I don't know if it was the best thing or the worst thing. Maybe it was the best, maybe it was the worst. Only time will tell. But I know I don't move like this. I got too much to lose, and I'm not fucking with people. And people are fucking with me. Not just the public, because I don't give a damn about them. The government is fucking with me. And so I had my second meeting with the National Park Service today. The last meeting, the woman sent me an email, and I can't tell you how many things was on the email. The woman asked me to give her by a certain date. And let me tell you something. There's people in this room that will bear witness, because I said you have to bear witness to what I'm going through. I need somebody who's a truth teller, somebody who knows that everybody knows is a truth teller. Okay? And they're here. If they want to step up, they can. If they don't, fine. But I'm going to tell you something. This rally is costing me. It's costing black people. It's costing a lot. Those white boys y'all saw out there this past weekend or whatever it was, they was marching down on the mall. You know them white boys that wear the khakis and the masks? Them. They call them patriots. But that's really not what they are. They're Klan boys. Come on, let's be real. Did you know that they only have to give an hour's time before they tell you they fit to march down to the National Park Service? Did y'all know that? Because I just found out today. They told me I needed a permit from a long time ago. But these white boys can call in an hour and go down there and march and hold upside down flags and go through taxpayer stuff. It don't take them but an hour. Sometimes, Miss Barnett, sometimes we don't know when they're coming. Sometimes they'll call us within the hour and come, and maybe it'll be 24 hours. We don't know. They just come when they get ready. That's what the fuck is going on in this country. That's what the fuck is going on in this country. That's why that white boy, God forbid he walked. God forbid that white boy walked, that killed that man, choked that man on the subway. I'm telling you, people say, well, it looked like it's going to be a war. Look like it's going to be one world government. No, all that shit is here. And it's been here. Y'all ain't been paying attention. And I done got caught up in the mix trying to do a rally and keep y'all together, and y'all don't want to be together. In the past year, y'all got 50, 11 names. So do the Asians. They still got an umbrella. Y'all ain't heard of an umbrella organization? You just get you one big umbrella, and all the groups get up under it. That's how you do it. And everybody lobby have the same goal. You got to do is say reparations. That's it. Nationally, not state by state. It's not going to work. States don't have enough money. And if we get on Black Majority's plan, which I owe Black a story to this day, and I might tell it on here, Black, for you and everybody else, about what happened when they killed King and what was going on down in Pascal's and out Atlanta, Georgia, and how everybody met down there and what they said, because it has everything to do with what Black is talking about. That's from the 60s. What y'all think this is? Ain't no war coming. War is here, been here. And you can't get your money up now. You see them immigrants coming across the border and then issuing them money out. What you think this is? And I'm going to tell you something. Them National Park Service people in that memorial, they don't want us down there. They've been telling me that for a long period of time. I just ain't told nobody. They don't want us down here. When we all met down there in April, I believe it was the 10th or the 12th or something like that, I had all the vendors down there. They talked about how powerful it was. Somebody said, we're going to break curses. I don't think we can. I can't have a band. I can't do face painting. I can't even have bubbles for the motherfucking kids. Y'all keep talking about reparations on a national scale. I want to hear what y'all got to say.
All right. Let me go ahead real quick and let me give a shout out to LT Soul and DJ for their contribution on Cash App. Dana, I know you've been waiting for a hot minute, so let me go ahead and get to you real quick. I know we had a lot of people in front of you, so you still there, Dana?
No, I'm still here. Yeah, no, it's good discussion tonight. So there's a couple of things I want to touch on. And I may have to get like a little bit messy.
Go ahead.
But I think, I think Black people you have to make a decision. Do you want to continue to talk about why we need reparations, or you want to make the decision to how do we get it? It's either talk about it or actually action. Because, your topic, why most Americans oppose reparations. And a lot of people are answering, oh, white people don't know, and white people this, white people that, immigrants. Why do you care about the white people? Why? Why do you care about the immigrants? Why do you care about everything else? They don't matter. The Asians are not caring about what white people are saying. They don't think about nobody else. This is the United States of America, where we all have the opportunity to exercise our constitutional rights, to lobby on a local level, state level, and a national level. The problem with Black people, we don't know how. We don't know how. And it's okay. The conversation then needs to go to how do we exercise our lobbying political power. That's what the conversations need to be. Not whether if white people oppose it or not. It's always going to be somebody that opposes it. And one of the reasons why they oppose it, because they don't think we deserve it. Because we don't do anything. So specifically the Asians, I forgot his name, Darren or somebody, he was talking, and somebody was talking about the AAIP in Florida. In Florida, with DeSantis always making headlines, passing all these bills, taking this out, but he's only touching mainly, I guess, Black stuff because Black people want to link themselves with the LGBTQ. The Asians not linking themselves with that. They're worried about them. So why are we not worried about us? I really don't want to talk about white people. Why are we still talking about white people? I don't care. And to no taxation, when she mentioned how the white boys, they'll give a 1 hour notice for their march. And she's right. But you know why they have that power? Because they exercise their constitutional rights. They are staying connected in contact with their local politicians who they voted for to put in Congress. We don't do that. Now, going to Cori Bush real quick, because he did put the article in that Jumbotron, but I also put I also pinned something in the Jumbotron to have people understand the difference between a bill and a resolution. That wasn't no bill that bitch passed. That was a resolution that she presented. You can wipe your ass with that, because a resolution means that the president does not have to take legal action, as opposed to a bill or an executive order. A legislation introduced to either the House of Representatives or the Senate. Unlike bills, they may be limited in effect to Congress or one of these chambers. There are 3 types of resolutions: a joint resolution, simple resolutions, and concurrent resolution. It means nothing, but they need to have positive storylines in the headlines because the Democrats and the Biden administration is tanking. So don't sit up here and say, well, they're talking about it. No, they're not talking about it. They're feeding you bullshit and you're eating it because you don't know the difference. The conversation needs to move from who knows what outside of a black, but and we need to start educating and talking about how can we get power? How can we get access to Congress? How can we start lobbying? You know, how can it's about action. And if you don't be afraid to say I don't know. So then let's talk about how we can know, and not whether we should or not, or who oppose it or not. And no offense, no taxation, because you know you're from a generation where it was all about action. You educated and you educate on how to get it, and you went and got it. And you at a certain point to where you're tired. And it's really up to my generation and younger to pick up that mantle and to move on. But having a rally, whether it's while we're marching, while we're marching, while we're having march.
Wait a minute, we weren't gonna march, but I hope y'all heard what she just said. She said, I come from a generation and I'm probably tired. She ain't told no lie, y'all.
And this is
everybody that I'm tired.
Right, and this is why you're tired.
But wait, because Dana isn't important. She can disagree with me all day long. I love Dana till the day is long because she comes from a good place and her heart is good and she really does care about black people. And I don't even know Dana. How about that? But I formally invited her. I sent her a letter with my raggedy no-text self. That's what Dana didn't know about me. But the people that know me. They know I don't do text. And I did the best I could to invite her because I think something of her. And her voice is important. And she can still disagree with me. We can disagree and go have a cup of coffee or a drink of wine. It don't matter. See what I'm saying? Because that's what black folks do. And I do come from that generation. I am tired. And I will tell you what. If y'all don't do it, you better wait another 50 years. Hope your children do it. Because that's where we are in this country. And I can't tell you nothing more than that.
Right, and I just want to add on to one of the reasons why you're tired, you know, and I'm using that word loosely. You're not going to get recognition. Lobbying takes time. It's not fun. It's boring as hell. It's not like social media where we could be up here for 4 hours and feel good and something's going. No, it takes years. It's a process, and if you're not used to doing anything, whether it is marching locally, canvassing to elect somebody, if you don't have that experience, then you would never comprehend the action that needs to be taken to get reparations, whether it's state, local, national, it doesn't matter. You have to understand that it's not about getting attention when going to call to action. It's not about the headlines. You're not going to have fun. So if you are serious about it and you're willing to do something that's boring, that's hard work, and it's going to take years, then we can get something done. It's not going to happen in 6 months. FBA is not going to take you there. Sorry. A march is not going to take you there. A conference is not going to take you there.
And a rally ain't either. How about that? And a rally ain't either. Come on, Dana, let's talk about what we know. And a rally ain't either. I was trying to show numbers.
Right, you're trying to show numbers.
I was trying to show numbers, but I didn't know the venue.
No, and that's the thing. And it's like, it's even just trying to show numbers. That's very important. But you want to get people, you want to attract people to show the numbers. So you want to present it to them in a rally. But black people need to re-educate themselves psychologically and understand numbers could be in a petition form. Locally,
it could be at the home office in your state.
Yes, if you get 10,000 people, 10,000 signatures in your state, that goddamn politician is going to always answer that call. Answer the phone when you call. Now they should be answering it anyway. But how about you just call your local mayor's office? Because during COVID, I was calling his office every day to talk about reparations. His secretary would say he was busy, but that was in 2020. But the fact is that they have to pick up your phone call. They have to respond to you. Just ask them for anything, but we don't ask.
In writing. Tell them put them in writing.
Right, emails. Yeah, exactly. But there's no ask. So stop worrying about everybody else and start asking for stuff. Right. So I'm just going to yield for right now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dana. Let me go ahead and original. I know you've been waiting for a minute as well, too. I'm going to get to you and Fred, and then we'll go back and get to the other speakers as well, too. So go ahead, original. You got it. DJ, I don't know if you still there. I know you was doing some stuff. I see you up there. I'm about to say professor, but I see the patches up there. Professor, I know you up there as well, too. So we get a chance, we'll get up to you as well, too, Professor. Go ahead, original. Also, guys, let's go ahead and try to keep it. I know it's kind of hard, but let's try to keep it 3-4 minutes at least, so we can go ahead and get everybody, let them get a chance to speak as well, too. So, Professor, hold it down for me for 1 second. You got it. You got it, original.
I got you. Okay. And I want to say this when it was mentioned about the people that the white people don't know. No, they know. Here in Atlanta, they have this thing called the cyclorama, and it's a huge mural that they depicted of the Civil War. Now, we talked about slavery was talked about when I was in junior high and high school. So what it is the propaganda of how white people have basically been propagandized as to what transpired. Because let's look at it now. They look at their Confederate flag as being their culture. They'll say, they'll have on shirts say, you don't understand this, this is a Southern thing, or whatever. No, these people know exactly what they did. I mean, hell, look at Emmett Till. They know exactly what they did, and they're just so evil that they want to play dumb, and I don't allow them to do that. But I just want to say that, as long as we can band together with one another and we can push things forward. Because, see, too many of as I said to you all before in another space, former mayor of Atlanta, Basine Reed, he said eliminating DACA is a shameful application of moral leadership. But yet, no black elected official has said anything about U.S. descendants of chattel slavery not receiving reparations is an application of moral leadership. Why aren't they doing that? These people are scared. And like what Dana just shared with us about Cori Bush trying to push forth the revolution, knowing that it's not going to do anything, we need to start talking to her and asking her, why the revolution? We need something that's tangible. Put a bill up there. So I think we need to start going after her as soon as we get out of this space, asking her, why did she promote a resolution versus a bill? This doesn't make any sense. And it's because we are allowing our elected officials to represent every demographic except for us. And it's past time that stopped. And I ran for someone else to get in real quick.
Thank you, original. I believe it is on Sister Miss T. You up next.
Sorry. I was looking up some other stuff. I know when I mentioned Cori Bush and what she presented, I know I said reparations resolution. I called it exactly what it was. In regards to why are we discussing white people, I don't think we care what white people think, but we're addressing the question in the room. The question says why most Americans oppose reparations. And so I think we are addressing that. We're engaging in conversation. I don't think any of us really give a damn what white people think, not in this particular space. We're over white people. We're done. We don't have any fear of them. We don't have any respect for them. Quite frankly, they nauseate us. So I think we're just having a conversation. And in reference to Black people doing the work in the reparations arena, not everybody is on Twitter.
I think of the Black people that actually have social media accounts, only 28% have a Twitter account. Most Black people have Facebook and YouTube. Those are the most popular social media forms for Black people. And then if you want to be in the knowledge of what's going on as far as lobbying and things like that, you need to follow the Capital Task Force. And that's the son I was asking Newstoter, and maybe he can start a monthly thing with them where they could come in and kind of talk to us about where they are. But they don't do a lot of stuff on Twitter. They do stuff on the ground. I believe they are in DC, and they do a lot of work. But yeah, people don't use Twitter pretty a base to build. Twitter is pretty much like a space to kind of bullshit around. You don't even really know if you're talking to people or bots. A lot of people, even looking at the space here, a lot of people don't even show their own faces. They just called out this guy, Black Addict, the other day, and come to find out he's an actual Nigerian, is what they're saying. So yeah, work is being done. There's a lot of stuff being done out here. People are not just sitting around complaining, but you got to know who to follow. You got to know who's doing the work. And if you want to do the work, you got to do your work and find out who can you be, who can you team with, who can you work with, where you can be active, where you can make a difference. And with that, I land my plane.
All right. Yeah, I just came back, y'all. No taxation. Did you want to say something? You said you wanted to say something real quick because I saw you DM me.
Yeah, I do want to say something because I wanted to let everybody in the room that could get in the room come in the room. And I also didn't want to waste people's time. I do have an announcement. The rally is not going to be what I wanted it to be.
Is that because of the mountains that they're putting up before you, and what you can't do?
You can't imagine. You can't imagine the process of this particular venue. There's 3 venues. I'm gonna try to do a backstory and keep it in synopsis as much as I can. There's 3 venues, National Park Service, if you want to exercise your First Amendment rights. One is the Lincoln Memorial, the other one is Freedom Plaza, and the other one is Sylvan Theater. I chose Sylvan Theater because I wanted to incorporate kids and disabled people. That's why I chose Sylvan Theater. I looked on the website and they said it was redone. It's a grassy amphitheater, outdoor amphitheater. I sold it to y'all as that because that's what the website said. Because that's what everything said on the internet. I went to see it April 10th, 12th, something like that, for the first time. Now, please mind you, I know about the monument. I know about all of it, okay? But they had redone it with some kind of architect. They made it seem like a big deal. I said, I would love for those kids down there in Southeast, the kids from Baltimore, to come in and put their feet on the grass. That's what I was thinking, okay? And I got out there, and guess what I found out, y'all? Man, the proximity from the monument to the stage, it's not a theater, it's a stage. It's a stage, and it's right there on the monument. It's a very powerful place to be. And June 18th, which is the Juneteenth weekend, they estimated, this is according to the National Park Service, Metro DC, and Capitol Hill Police that oversee this place, not like the Lincoln Memorial. It's different from the Lincoln Memorial and Freedom Plaza. It's a different type of jurisdiction because of the location. And I suspect because of that monument. Listen, white towers looking like penises to the sky. Need I say more? Pete Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. Understand the history now. Somebody said we're gonna break curses. I was down there with about 4 or 5 people, the vendors and everybody. We were seeing it all for the first time. Security man went down the day before. He came up from North Carolina, retired police department. Okay, in Maryland. I chose all black businesses and vendors specifically, even though I could have got it cheaper someplace else. Okay, I did everything I could. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if it's gonna work. They told me if I had a go-go band coming down there, that I had to put tarp all along the grass around the monument. And those people was gonna line up at 8 o'clock in the morning because they know those people, according to them. This is not just the National Park Service. This is also Capitol Hill Police, Metro DC, fire people, everybody. First meeting. But I had my people sitting at the table too. Because it ain't the first time I ever been to the table with white folks. First time I ever been to the table with all black career federal employees, because that's what you're dealing with. Except for the police. But anyway, nevertheless, needless to say, I sold it as a family entertainment venue. We don't have kids. We don't have, we want to do face painting. We want to give the kids 5 and under some bubbles, and we just gonna have a Father's Day program, and we gonna have a go-go band. Lord, when I say go-go band, the shit hit the fucking fan. So I said mix the go-go band since everybody having a problem. Because they told me not only did I have to put tarp down, but I had to give them people cold water because they're gonna be sitting out in the hot sun. I said, oh no, I'm not going to be responsible for that. Then I was told that my security cannot be armed. I need security because they anticipate 50,000 people coming due to the nature of where we at and the height of tourist season. So I have to have security. Security talking about 60K, almost 60K, not quite, almost. But I was still hustling, y'all. It ain't even about the money at this point. It's about the fact that these people do not want us down there. And they put up every obstacle for me, even to the point of the first meeting I had with them, which was in April, after I saw the video. Mind you, this woman has been attached to me because, see, after you go through the permit process, what it is they assign you a ranger. The permit office is understaffed and probably underpaid. And you can't even blame it on Trump decimating the government. The shit ain't never been right. And white boys is over there wreaking havoc and running them up. There's some black folks over there in some key areas, not just in the Park Service, but have to interlap and overlap with the Park Service for these types of things. So you got some keys up in there. They understand. But them white boys over at the National Park Service, they running this motherfucker. Period. No bubbles. No face painting. Bubbles? And if you have a cooling tent, you're going to have to do this and do that, and we got to inspect it. You better have an ambulance. You have to have so many people for first aid. That's what I was up against. So I slimmed it and cut it all the way back. I had a meeting with him today. That's my second meeting with him. That woman looked at me as if to say, listen, they even put people from DC government in this one. The reason they not fucking with me is because of my daddy's name and somebody else's name I got on that permit. And somebody's name I put off that permit. How about that? So I can show y'all the game. Whoever, if you need a permit, I'm the girl to help you fill out your form. That's how I started my business. Okay. In 1985. That's what I do because my daddy taught me well. Filling out government forms and making sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Okay, I can tell you what the game is. And they need to do better over there, National Park Service. And I noticed that you all took a couple of their pictures down and stuff that I was seeing on the internet because I said it was false advertising because that's what it was.
With no taxation, let me ask you real quick. So the actual rally is still going on as planned.
I want to make it a protest. See, I found it under First Amendment. Okay. I was riding the line on my between, you know.
Can you speak up a little bit louder? No taxation if possible.
Yeah, when I filed for the permit in March of last year, okay, that's how long I've been working on it. I rode on my First Amendment right, but I rode the line. You do have a right to protest in this country, and they have to see you through. And we can still do that. We can still do that. But the rest of it, I don't think we're going to be able to do that because they don't want us down there. And when I tell you they don't want us down there, they don't want us down there. That's why we need to be there if you want to know the truth about it. Everybody need to wear a reparations shirt and carry a damn sign. Fuck these white folks. If they not going to let us have nothing, then we not going to have nothing. We still got to have the DJ and the speakers. How about that? Now y'all don't have a problem. I met with them today. The fire lady was meeting with me. She black too. Everybody black. Everybody black in all the areas except for the National Park Service. I'm not talking about the permit office because that's black. But the National Park Service that oversees all this shit in the country that taxpayers pay for, they want that for white folks. I ain't even know. All this time my daddy taking me to Yellowstone and taking the family on vacations and seeing the stuff all across the country. That's the way I was raised. He was trying to tell me all this belonged to us. National Park Service shit, the redwoods, all that. Family, we look like something off TV with my grandmother in the car. And I just tried to get, and listen, here's the thing, they don't want us down there. And they're not going to let us have anything. And that's just what that is. And they are working against us because if them white boys can go down there in an hour's time, that's what I was told today. I told them I'm concerned about people's safety. People calling me up and telling me, I don't know, and texting me and DMing me, I don't know if I want to bring my kids now because them white boys been down there with them khakis and ski masks and shit on. And I got people calling me and saying all kind of dumb shit and bullshit to me. Y'all don't understand. They don't want us down there. They trying to run me off. And they know I can't. They got to do it a certain sort of kind of way because they don't want to make no enemies. I got one ace in the hole. That's the last one, and I ain't even going to talk about that. But I got one more ace in the motherfucking hole. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm going to tell you this. Truthfully, the climate of this country, it really don't matter anymore. Like Martin Luther King said, it really doesn't matter anymore. Because I'm gonna tell you, the game has already been sold. It just ain't been told. I didn't think we was gonna move this fast in the country, but I'm here to tell you, the game is all. I don't know if I doubt Biden gets out of office. Let me put it like that. I doubt very seriously if Biden gets out of office. And he gonna feel like he don't owe a shit. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because he feels like he already gave the niggers something. Excuse me, Newstoter. But that's who he is. He's been a blue dog Democrat all his life. He worked for the other side. And I ain't a Republican and I ain't a Democrat. But I'm telling you, the conversation of reparations and Joe Biden is zero. And if it gets upset, because you really can't call it after Trump, if it gets upset and they do let Trump in, it won't be DeSantis, and they do let Trump in because that's their boy, he ain't gonna give us nothing but crumbs. I can tell you that for a fact. And it's best to go for something like mass incarceration, something he'll do something about, because his son-in-law, that'll give him brownie points with his daughter too. See, know the game. These just plain old folks. They're just plain old white folks. Ain't nothing new about them. They think like everybody else. I'm gonna leave it there. Anybody got any questions? Ask me. Any of my soldiers that been with me from day one, and I'm gonna tell you, I ain't even going back in the past about how nobody would help me from March 2022 until March 2023, second week of March. Nobody helped me. So everything that I did, including that changing that ugly ass website everybody talked so bad about that I didn't give a fuck about, didn't happen until then. That's been what, a month, and what is this, the second week of May? So we talk about the second week of March from the second week of May. I say that's good fucking timing. I got one more ace in the hole. Let's see what I can do. I'm gonna shoot craps because that's who I am. I'm gonna shoot craps. We gonna see. I'm at the crap table. And that's all I can tell y'all. And I tell y'all this, I'm not gonna tell all the Pan-Africans that are in the room, if you're Pan-African and you come from anywhere in the Baltimore DMV area, please go back and tell your people that I am going to sit on this motherfucking permit so nobody gets it. Please tell them that, especially the one out there in Baltimore. Y'all know who I'm talking about from the AME Church. If I have to name names, I will, because y'all know I didn't have a problem with it with ADOS and Sandy Darity. Let's be real clear, I got receipts. I just don't like to do it with black folks. But I keep a good old fucking receipt because I deal with the government. I'm gonna leave it there.
All righty. Okay. Obviously we were trying to get back to the actual room. I keep saying about to say Patches, Professor. Go ahead, Professor. I see Patches.
It's gonna take some getting used to. I'm actually gonna change that, y'all.
Hey, you need to make another professor profile or something, man.
Y'all just not used to me talking like this. See, now y'all can see the real motherfucking me. There's some people in the room that know. Tell them, Rella. Tell them, Black.
Hey, and I said, and I just kind of let you flow because I was saying I didn't want no cursing, but I see how upset you was, so I just kind of let it slip.
Listen, when I tell you, that's why I come in your room, because I get intellectual conversation. I can't carry this information nowhere where nobody don't believe me and people don't understand because they don't have any idea of what civics is about or the nuances of politics or even what black politics looks like. That's why I come over here. You can't give this information to everybody because I'd be casting pearls before the swine, and that's not something I do.
Yes, ma'am. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead, Professor. Then I want to go ahead and get to Fred because he's been waiting for a minute too. So go ahead, Professor.
Sister no taxation, I tell you, or something else. And but look, the cussing is just natural. Let it all hang out. That's what I say. Just let it hang out. But that's what I do. You just have to let that anger come on out. Let people know exactly how you feel. And but you've been doing a great job with this. I knew when you was talking about this, it was going to be a lot of stuff to go on behind the scenes because we know that these folks don't want us there. They don't want us having reparations. They don't want us having anything. But you be encouraged that you have done a great job with this, and your hard work is going to still lead us to where we need to be. That's all I have to say about it. And God bless you for all the hard work you have put into it, and everybody else too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Isaiah Washington is in the room. I want you to give him the mic. I want you to give Black Majority the mic. Black Majority.
Is he in there now? Is he in now?
Wait. Who's in the room?
Bear witness for me about how I used my own money and left in December of 2022 from upstate New York in the middle of winter to go to Chicago. I left one cold place to go to another place, and I never told nobody about it, to beg him to come to the rally and speak. He said, you got to put skin in the game. Let him tell the story. And Black, I want you to come up here and bear witness to that email I sent you not so long ago. And let you tell it how the people don't worry the fuck out of me. I don't mean
Who's in the room?
Black and Isaiah Washington.
Yeah, Isaiah Washington is in here, so like, where is he?
Where is he at? Because I don't see him.
Let him tell the whole story. Let him talk about how I was selling. Isaiah, tell him about how I was telling you I was selling real estate on the motherfucking monument and niggas didn't I didn't tell you that part. That niggas didn't get it. But anyway, we was gonna let the white folks have it. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, how I was selling real estate with the video wall. Who ever heard of an opportunity to advertise your business on a video wall at the monument? Because guess what I found out in that first meeting, y'all? Ain't no difference between saying you have a permit at the monument and you have a permit at the Sylvan. What I call stage, they call theater. That's the proximity of how close they are. The permit is really for the monument. That's why they don't want us down there. And come on, Black, talk about that email I sent you. Talk about that email I sent you and told you what they was asking. Talk about that. Get them folks the money.
Well, we can't make people come up if they want to come up here. I don't even see Isaiah Washington in here. You said he's in here, so I don't even see him in here. But if anybody,
is that him down there named Sober? Is that him Sober?
No, he's the disruptor. No, he's the disruptor.
Hold on. Unmute the mic. That's Tammy, the disruptor. I see Tammy in here.
I'm disrupting.
Hold on, everybody, before I go on. It's right there, but there's too many people on the microphone. Two people got to drop down, yo. So somebody gonna have to volunteer to drop down, or otherwise we're gonna kick you out.
Well, I'm saying I don't even see his profile in here. That's what I'm saying.
Brother, I'm telling you, I'm looking right at the man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
I got his request right here. Somebody has to drop down. Otherwise, we're gonna kick you out.
Hey, Newstoter, he's in there. Yep, I see him now.
Okay, well, let's see. Miss T.
I'm about to go to work anyway. I'll pop up on you.
All right, so then approve him then, because I don't see him.
Hold on 1 second, sir.
I see Black Majority State trying to come up too. Like I said, I don't see him. So
How you doing, Mr. Washington, sir?
Grand rising to the room. I will preface it this way. I don't particularly get to be 100% who I really am when things are being recorded. For obvious reasons. It's always taken out of context. I will say this.
You're safe in this room with us, sir, for sure. Even though it is being recorded, though. But go ahead.
I appreciate that, but no comment. Anyway, yes, Gene Barrett. Oh my God, no taxation. Yep. She reached out to me on Twitter, as most people do. People know they reach out to me, I will respond. I was in the throes of getting a movie, Corsicana movie, promoted, going uphill like a salmon, getting virtually one obstacle after another, no support, no press, nobody push, no nothing. He was paying over $25,000 of my own money, could not get the people's attention. But if I say anything, take it out of context and make me look like all kinds of crazy things. They call me out. God, this woman, she got on a plane and she supported me. And I ain't gonna lie, I didn't want to be there. It was so cold. She got on that plane. And I said, look, man, I got my own war going on right now. But if you want me to get down with you, you got to put some skin in the game. You got to show me that you ready to support me and I'll support you. And she did that. Turnaround flight. And we've been talking ever since. I don't know if you know who her father is. She's very a firebrand, but she's also a very humble person. I really think that she's a psychological term, an introverted extrovert. I think it's very hard for her to be in spaces like this. But because of her legacy, I show love and deference and respect. And I'll fight for her. I also told her that it's going to be very difficult. I understand that to a community, which unfortunately not enough Native people are in that circle. I have data and information with some very sound sources, but that Patriot front is just that, a front. They're all feds. I'll say that. I go on the recording. Ironically, Republicans against Trump, those are feds. I've been a part of demonstrations and simulations on how you arrest people with zip locks. Everybody knows you remove those masks. You don't put them on their knees, you put them on their behinds. Zip lock them and you put them tight. Take those gloves off because it could be a weapon in there. It could be a razor blade in your mouth. You have some kind of weapon under your eyelid, under your hat. It was embarrassing to law enforcement. And if real law enforcement was actually doing that, they had put themselves at risk like you would not believe. I trained with these boys, and I'm telling you, that was not real. And every law enforcement person that know anything about law enforcement, I think there's a few here in this room. No, I'm not lying. Every TTP that you train, I mean the basic, with that many people, it was all wrong. They didn't even check their boots. They had gathered boots. They have all kinds of things go wrong. And they just all got on the paddock. Ironically, what, 6 weeks, 8 weeks before no taxation was trying to get a whole bunch of brown people on the mall, they just suddenly pop up. I'll say, you know what? No taxation, kudos to you. You got somebody's attention. That's power, lady. Your daddy would be proud, and I'll land there.
Let me tell you something. Isaiah told y'all what it really is. He told y'all what it is. Because here's what I'm telling you. I'm going to fall right behind what he said. The man in the meeting today, and I'd have to look him up. I wouldn't even quote his name over here down to the spaces because I ain't stupid for real. I understand y'all watching me. I don't give a damn. When I met Isaiah, he had on a vest. I said, that's my kind of people. That's my kind of people that wear a vest because they know. They out here telling the truth. And he just told y'all the truth. The man that told me that them boys can come in, well, we don't know when they coming, Mr. Barnett. We don't know when they coming. He sound like just one of them crackers down there down south Newton. But he had a different type of accent. Same thing, different accent. Feel me on this. Well, we don't know, Mr. Barnett, when they coming, you know. Sometimes they tell me it's 24 hours, and sometimes they tell me an hour. And that particular group, that's the Patriots. Samita quoted their name. He knew all about them. You know what I said? People are concerned about their children. Black people are concerned about their children. And what I'm not going to do is have anyone hurt. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. I don't want it on my name. I don't want it on my time. I don't want it on my purview. I don't want it on my daddy's legacy who fought very hard and was a better person than me. No, I ain't doing that. So you need to tell them people to back off. Why I got all the polices? When I tell y'all all the polices, I'm talking about all the polices. All the polices. On the emails, on the meetings, the coming to the meetings, and all. This meeting today, I went by myself. I want to let them people know I don't need no motherfucking team. Let me just say what I got to say to y'all. I don't need people to speak for me. I speak well by myself. My problem is I speak too damn well. That's why I get other people to talk like I did with Sandy Darity, taking him to the hill. Because if I say it, it's going to sound like the street vernacular. Period. Because I'm not playing with white folks. I was raised around them. I know the games they play. You heard what he said. I got on a damn plane. And it cost me $0.25. Almost Christmas time. Cold here. But let me tell y'all, ladies, I had a coat for it. I don't think I didn't. And I was still cute. How about that? That's for the ladies. Okay. I had on my snow boots that was cute and all that kind of stuff. And I took my ass over there to Chicago when it was raining in December which is not actual rain, it's actually sleet. They call it rain. Freezing out. To tell this man, I put skin in the game. Because, listen, there's a lot of shit I do y'all don't know. And I ain't got to tell you. I'm not that girl. That's why I was incognito. I'm not that girl. But right now I have to be that girl. Because I got to let y'all know what y'all are up against. They don't care nothing about California getting no reparations. You think the fuck they care? They care about this nation getting reparations. That's what they care about. They care about us going to the nation's monument, the national monument on the National Mall. That's what the fuck they care about. Don't bring that shit to the seat in the halls of power. You look good. Y'all going with your little couple of corn.
Sound like you was breaking up there. No taxation.
Well, I'm through anyway. I probably talk too much any daggone way.
Okay.
You have.
Who said that? Isaiah? I don't want you to talk to me no more if you're gonna speak against me. Look, let Black come up here and let him tell his part. Come on, Black. Tell him what I'm up against. Bear witness.
Hey, wow. Yeah, so I did see the email. I also saw the Patreon front. Ironically, as soon as I saw the freeze frame of that video, I knew where they were at because, after doing that Google image search and looking around, it was instant. I said, that's where they're at. The day before, they had an event where they just had these red cots and some disease, and they didn't have any lawn protection or any of that I saw in the email that they had you do. So, everything for Black people, unfortunately, has been a mountain to climb. It's obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, especially in politics. It's always going to be obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. As much as I continue to help, I do everything I can, but I can't do a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like everybody else, just one person here. I know you've done everything that you possibly can do. And so, we got the government, we got the federal government who's making it nearly next to impossible for Black Americans to come together on that holiday specifically. To represent right there in DC. So I'm all for showing up on the day and carrying a banner or whatever. If that's what people want to do, I'll be there for that.
And we can still have the speakers and the DJ. And I told them today at the meeting, Black. Well, if I scale it all the way down, I don't need security, do I? No, ma'am. If you keep it at 300 people, then they can. You don't even need the porta potties. See, y'all didn't know I was getting porta potties too. Y'all thought that little GoFundMe up there was for something I was with. No, hell no. I knew y'all niggas didn't have no money. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Big Story. I knew y'all didn't have no money. I ain't got no
Say knackers.
Knackers. I'm trying.
You know that the liquor store system.
I'm trying. You gotta remind me. But I knew you knackers didn't have no money. I ain't got none either. And like I told Isaiah, I ain't even worried about that little GoFundMe. I was trying to get some real money from my alma mater, from Black businesses, from Black banks. I was looking for sponsorship. That was for y'all to see if y'all would buy it, and y'all didn't. How about that? So when I saw that, I said, why should I break my motherfucking neck? I don't mean no harm. Why should I? Why should I care about the people that don't care about themselves? This ain't for me. I'm going to be fine because I know how to hustle. I've been out here long enough to know how to keep a roof over my head, food in my mouth, and clothes on my back, and go on vacation and live well. I know how to do that. And it's not because I'm so smart. It's because I'm Black in America. Don't ever put a discount on my Blackness in America. But I wanted it for y'all. There ain't even a way. What y'all don't know is there's not even a way. The permit says I can have 10,000 people. See, that was a point of clarification for me in that first meeting. Well, if the permit says that it holds 10,000 people, then why can't I cordon off some of that grass over there, roundabout over there by that monument? Because ain't nothing else out there but sidewalk. It's a, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. No, you can't do that.
Hey, yeah, that actually is true, sister. It is because of the flow of the traffic that they
It's
go
public.
through.
It's public. You can't impede the
can't do
public.
it. Yeah, public can't impede the public. That's right.
Okay.
And then look,
You don't even do nothing with the sidewalks, y'all.
yeah,
And
can't
where the
stop the flow of traffic. You know what I mean?
The only thing I can do is ask the security to stand out there in the hot sun in front of the stage. But that's in case anybody was able to sit on the grass. I'm gonna tell y'all don't understand. They don't want us down there. they do not want us down there. But ain't nothing they can do if we come down there with signs and shirts. What they gonna do?
And for sure, they just kept trying to make her move to the Freedom Plaza. I was there for that. I heard that.
See, I don't tell y'all. Come on, come in and tell it. Come tell it.
MoCodified.com. Y'all get your codified t-shirts. What's up, brother Moco?
He was down there with me at the venue. Wait a minute, Muko. He was down there with me at the venue. I asked Muko to meet me down there. Go ahead, Muko. Tell him.
Yep. We went down there. Sure enough, they were trying to give it a big ass run around and kept offering our Freedom Plaza like we were our children in the middle of the street getting hit. But they kept trying to offer her that shit. She kept saying, kept standing on the square. Hell no. It's going to be right here. We kept trying to give her all the fucking runarounds. We can't have security. Can't have porta potties over here. We can't do this. We can't do that. Whole time, yeah. She's definitely telling them 100% truth if I was there.
Tell y'all, I got pictures to prove it, but I ain't finna post it because then you'll see everybody's faces. But I took pictures. My daughter was down there with me. I'm telling y'all, I waited until the last minute because I knew people was joining. People joined today. Here's what else y'all don't know. I done had to send it over there to the ranger over there in the National Park Service. People from the United Nations was trying to come. They done went on the Eventbrite. Now here's the Eventbrite situation. Y'all know I don't know technology, so I don't know nothing about no Eventbrite. They say you need to do an Eventbrite. I said okay. Just like they told me I need to come out of anonymity. I said okay, because I think it's important. So I did that look. I didn't do it. My daughter did it. And she put that little Eventbrite thing up. Lo and behold, like my daddy say, lo and behold, here come two people from the United Nations. I asked them today. I said, so if somebody sign up on the Eventbrite, which is a public invitation and anybody can come, am I responsible for them? Yes, you need to give us their names. You need to send it in to us immediately. I said, well, if it's a public event and the public is invited, what's the difference between them and a tourist? What's the difference? Well, they answered your Eventbrite, and so that means they're your guests. You invited them. I said, when did we start having that rule? I wasn't aware of that. See, that's what I'm up against, y'all. I sent it on over there because guess what? I'm very compliant when I want to be, but then I'm going to be compliant to the point where I'm going to draw a line in the motherfucking sand. Because here's what I was thinking, y'all. Just politically. The deal really looks like it's done. Biden is going to be in office. It's very hard to get it to come out, okay? Whenever the country swings far right, it swings far left. Hopefully it finds itself in the middle. People are really looking for the middle. Y'all don't see it. I see it because those are things that I look for and I try to find. So the country is looking for the middle America, people who think more alike than different. Because people are sick of the far right and the far left, and they can't get nothing done in this country, and they just let all these immigrants up in here, okay? And white folks is poor. So if that be true, and I don't know, I'm just forecasting. If that be true, then the next administration is going to be Republican. Maybe we need to bring out the black Republicans and do it next year. They got more money than us, no way. I'm just saying. And I got a few more little connections in there. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm just throwing it out there. I want some feedback on that. Tell me what y'all think. And I'm going to leave it there.
I want to hear from DP and One Love. I'm just here to listen. DP been having their hand up for about a half an hour.
Hey, Todd, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Real quick, yeah, go ahead, DP, real quick. We're not gonna keep the space open too much longer, but go ahead, DP. Are you there,
Mic
DP?
check, DP, you there? DP. 1 2 1 2. DP, the cable guy. Matter of fact, what's the bootleg hook up? I need that. You know what I mean? Because I just got the cable off. Going once, going twice, fam.
DP may not be there. I know they was waiting a minute, so let's go ahead and go to Rella. I see Rella's got her hand up. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
What up, road tripper?
Hey guys, so I'm gonna be quick. Thank you again. No taxation again. I think there's not a whole lot that I feel like we could really say that would actually amount to the appreciation. I know it was not easy because I was there in the beginning. And we've had a lot of battles. I've seen a lot of the different fallouts and stuff like that. But I will say this: the position that people take has to be the position of the umbrella to you. And it has to be that way because right now we are like scattered animals trying to find shelter. And we're not realizing that the biggest and best way that we can actually fight the elements is back to back. I am full chested, hands to the ground, here standing up and representing my lineage and my family in their name, which is my name. And I'm behind you 100%, 1,000%. So if they got on khakis and blue shirts, we gonna have on our shirts and we gonna have on our stuff because we gonna represent our lineage. And our lineage, they are fighters. And we not gonna give a damn what they say at this point because it's already set in motion. The other thing is, I think everything that everyone had mentioned earlier is that we definitely have to get our lobbying up. We definitely have to get our organizations up so people can actually start to get the support that they need financially. And then we have to put skin in the game. We have to be willing to definitely put skin in the game. And it's not going to be easy for a lot of people, especially for people who battle financially, who battle with everyday life. But it has to come, it's going to come down to that, or it's going to come down to us being not the bottom caste, but actually being wiped out of existence, period. And that's not a war that I'm willing to lose. And so if you have that type of mindset, then you understand that a fighter is not someone who walks into battle willy-nilly. And as my father would tell me all the time, you never take any wooden nickels. Good night, baby.
And thinking they're going to win.
And thinking you're going to win. Yeah.
Always your enemy has to be a formidable opponent.
That's right.
If you're used to going to war,
mm-hmm.
And the wars you fight, then you know that your enemy is formidable. And so there's nothing new under the sun. All these tricks have been played.
Yes.
They even went down to the vendors. I said, well, I want to have 30 vendors. We're going to do this. Well, you can't have 30 vendors. If you're going to have 30 vendors, where you going to put them? I said, well, I was thinking about it. You're facing the stage to the right of the stage, behind where the people with disabilities, yes, I even included them, underneath the trees. And with the ambulance, you all said I had to have an ambulance and first aid people and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they could be over there on that grassy part over there. That's not a part of the monument. Well, it's not 30 vendors. If you're going to have 30 vendors and some tents over their head, then we don't understand how you're going to get all the people over there. You might be able to do 5. That's the kind of shit I was up to. So I fought for 5. I fought for the ones that I had. Right. Brother, wait a minute, let me finish this. Because Muko and them don't even know fought for them. 3. Right. And they didn't have a problem with that. And they waived the $200 fee that I would have to pay on the permit. Because they didn't want them other people, and we was negotiating. We was at the table. So I could have got Black in there. And I could have got DJ in there, and I could have got Muko in there because them are my soldiers, and I was going to look out for them. And guess what, y'all? If we do it, y'all still can come up there and be a vendor and don't pay a fee. How about that? Now, because I love y'all, and I want y'all there because y'all been down with me. Y'all work. Y'all put in the work. You put your money where your mouth is. Muko left me down there. Truth to tell, Black did the website. He hired somebody. Let's talk about what's real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took a plane to Chicago, but other people have put their money where their mouth is. These are people who are real soldiers. When I was on Tariq Nasheed's case, he was gracious enough to ask me about my stuff. I couldn't even remember the name of the website, which I really had nothing to do with. If you want to know the truth about it, that was Black and Mel from the cruise. Truth to tell. I ain't had nothing to do with it. And so I couldn't remember the name of it because y'all know I don't do technology and stuff. I remember what DJ said because he's the best hype man you can get. And that means something to me. And I did fight for y'all today. And so if y'all want to come down there and we still do it, guess what? Y'all safe.
Well, I'm mad.
And that's what I think that's what it is. It's we're gonna lose a couple of battles, and we have to be ready for that. But the mission is to win the war, and the war is really us. The war is getting information saturated so much so that we turn the tides, and that not just the tides of information and education, but the tides economically. And so that is the biggest war, and they don't want us to win that war. So they put up little battles for us to fight, and hoping that we'll get pretty much dismayed and not want to participate. But I want to encourage everyone, even if you don't believe in marching, if you don't believe in showing up, that's not what our ancestors did. They showed up. They did march. Maybe it was something that they needed to do to add on to what they were doing, but it got a lot of work done, and they didn't get to this point. We are at a point now where information comes out so fast that we could change this thing on a collective front if we literally turned into like a Transformers and got together. We have to be willing to think like that, like a swarm of bees or ant colony. You have to. It is imperative. I don't care who you don't like, who you not rocking with at this moment in time. It doesn't matter, because once the AAPI, and this is what I wanted to answer Dana about. The AAPI actually is getting their legislation and their lobbying done by saying that Black Americans are the ones attacking them. And I wanted to point that out. And there's a reason for that. They can't get legislation in the way that we could because they are still represented as immigrants. That's why they try to turn and use the term refugees. There's something to these terms that are listed and how things were actually constructed under the 14th Amendment, 13th Amendment, 15th Amendment. We have to get that deep into the information so that we understand why these people are able to use terminologies that our government is not recognizing us, have not recognized us since before Reconstruction.
Can I just say this? Because I think this is important. Because I think we got to do next steps. Don't think that I'm not working on something else, y'all. I got something else in the works because guess what? I know how to pivot. That's the name of the game. Can you pivot and can you do something else? Guess what? If y'all gonna block me from this, then I'm gonna do this.
Right.
So I'm already working on something else. Trust and believe, because more than a few people have asked me, well, what can be the takeaway? Because this has been a journey for me. It's been a year-long journey of really just me by myself. I just got to know y'all. Just got to know y'all. Y'all don't know me, and I don't know y'all. I've been working in anonymity, and I've been on Twitter 11 years. And 10 and a half of those years, I was anonymous and still doing the work because I don't fool with folks. But anyway, nevertheless, I done started fooling with y'all because y'all have a wealth of information. I'm gonna tell you this: if you can't get in the weeds like Rella, like somebody like Isaiah, like somebody like Miss T, or somebody that Brother Muko, if you can't, because I can't get in the weeds, so ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with not being able to get in the weeds. Because when I took Darity up to the hill, I never got in the weeds. I remember when I took him into Warner's office, Senator Warner's office, because she got that housing bill up there. I keep telling y'all about that housing bill. Mecca put her on the floor. See what we working with. It ain't never been on the floor for a vote. Let's see what we working with. Who's against us? Because those are the offices we need to invade. Why are you against this? Tell us why. No legislation for Black folks have been passed in this country without confronting white supremacy in their offices.
Correct.
It's okay for the people to say, yeah, I'm agreeing with it. I want to talk to the people who ain't in agreement with me. See, that's how you have to work to get your stuff done. But nevertheless, needless to say, when I took him up there, you know what he said to me? He said, Gene, I don't understand this bill. I said, don't worry about it because it's their job to explain it to him. We got up in there, and him and the woman that wrote the bill out of Warner's office, which strictly addresses redlining and for Black folks in this country. Just housing, good bill. He worked on it. They got in the weeds. You know what I did? Sat there and checked time, shut my mouth, and did a whole lot of other things that people who can't get in the weeds don't do. That's how you have to work it. That's why I'm telling y'all, take somebody better than you up there, because that's what I do. I always take somebody better than me. I ain't taking me. You see how I talk. I ain't taking me. I'm going to take somebody who talks better than me, who knows more than me, who presents better than me. I'll have the right outfit on. But baby, please don't let me have to open my mouth other than, the formality. Other than that, I'm through with it. That's what y'all got to do. Please understand that's what y'all got to do. That's where we at.
Hold up, Dana. You know what taxation was funny? I'm losing so many friends because of you.
Don't start that shit.
But like,
you know what I mean? You up there with the Clan boys.
But yeah. I don't fuck with Clan, but I fuck with big kids. All right. But I digress. And they tell me how they gonna move. I already just put it out there. I saved a whole lot of Black people that want to go support Trump, and white poor people that want to go support Trump. January 6th, about 300. I told them to stand down. It was all set up, so but that's I digress. What's funny is I was having a conversation on Sunday. I don't know what the day is, but I was having a conversation on Sunday with a very prominent individual who I love, and I'm in business with, or trying to be in business with, who went to Howard, who is an alpha, Alpha Phi Alpha, and I pledged me 5 million. And we're talking about Juneteenth. And I brought this up, and I brought up your legacy. And he said to me, what I was assume was straight face on the phone, man, why don't you pick the 4th of July? I said, what? He said, ain't no Black people gonna support June 19th. Most Black people look at June 19th as a failure because these people were still running around being slaves and they didn't know it. And this is a very educated man with a family, damn near 60 years old. And I said, brother, you can't be serious. I said, tell me there's a punchline. Please tell me there's a punchline. He says, no, it's not. I said, bro, I'm from Texas and I know my history. The people outside of Galveston, when the Union soldiers, the general came in and told them that they were free, they weren't told because the poor whites didn't tell them. They couldn't read. They wouldn't read no newspapers. They needed to get those crops out. And then when they finally got the crops out, they filed suit against the U.S. government and got reparations after they finally realized slavery was it. So these people got reparations right after Jubilee, late in Juneteenth. And you telling me we need to be talking about reparation on July 4th when Frederick Douglass clearly said he don't give a flying F about July 4th. That's not our independence, and that is weak. You know, this is what I have, the problem what I have with black people and niggas. I love me some black people, just like Chris Rock said. But niggas will pick apart black people every step of the way. You know, Clarence D. Jones was the man responsible, that was my mentor, responsible for making sure that Martin Luther King got his Birmingham letter copyrighted. So now his kids are living off that I have a dream speech in that letter, right? Even though Lonnie Bunch don't want to put anything Martin Luther King aside the museum there in D.C., but I digress. And I said, why is it that we spend more time tearing each other down because we don't understand, we don't overstand, or we don't tell you all our business on how we move? If I told everybody on how I move, I wouldn't have gotten anything done. Not just, I'm not doing this for money, I'm doing this for my legacy, for my good name. And yes, for black people and melanated people. I don't need any help. I'm going to get it done myself as best I can, knowing what the fight is going to be, knowing the people going to attack me, don't understand. But if I sit up here like Obama and tell you I'm pulling out of Afghanistan, then everybody's going to know I'm coming. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you. You might be that kind of DNA that told me on that Turner. I'm not going to tell you everything until we get it done. Somebody said, well, Isaiah, instead of reparation, why don't you use T to talk about mass incarceration? I said, man, are you serious? Tell me again that you got a punchline. I got niggas hating me because I went to the White House to take care of the First Step Act. Because that man wanted white actors who was afraid to get behind the First Step Act here in LA through my organization that nobody know about that I co-founded, called Artists and Athletes Alliance, right there in DC. 11 years strong. To get your letters and your issues straight to the senators and straight to the congressional people that ain't gonna do nothing for you. So I'm just saying again, grand rising to you, sister. Grand rising to you, Dana. I know you got your hand up and talk about legislation and all that, but I've sat at the table of power.
And no, don't worry about that, Mr. Washington. That's the Conquer's going in. That's the Conquer's going in. You don't got to worry about that.
And I tried to tell her to change that hand to brown, but she won't listen. But DNA has memory, but whatever. She'd be mad at me later. And I said, I've already
Jersey in the building, David. Jersey in the building.
I've already put my name on criminal justice reform. I took more heat even after Kanye and Kim Kardashian left. Even after Ben Jones threw me under the bus while I'm standing there in the White House next to Jared Kushner. Walked up to him, never took a picture with Trump. He wanted to shake my hand. I'm like, you can find a picture with Kodak Black and Lil Wayne standing next to Trump before you fire me. I'll give you $10,000 for every picture you see with me authentically, that AI and Photoshop. I ain't that stupid. You got to show me more. And Trump did a whole lot, but Trump was also the first person on Entertainment Tonight when asked the question, hey, should Isaiah lose his job for saying that word? Absolutely, he should be fired. Okay. I don't hold no grudges. That was a long time ago. You trying to release 91% of the people under federal, penitentiary for a dime bag of weed, men and women, and poor Latinos and poor whites, they can go to. You like Neely Fuller, we need to have some of the black, the white sacrifices, show that everybody doing bad. But I'm talking about black people. I'm talking about melanated people. And I asked Jared Kushner, what is he going to do if he gets reelected for reparation? Dan Jones, almost choked on his shoes sliding over there going, Jared, I see it's a joke. Isn't he funny? I was dead ass serious. I said, I done lost all the respect of all the black people that understand why I'm here, fighting for something that Meek Mill didn't want to do. Jay-Z told him don't do it. I'll drop him in bed with Hillary Clinton. What you gonna do for reparations? Kushner was getting on me until Dan Jones interrupted him. And I'll land right there. It's always
okay.
Negroes, y'all. It's always the Negroes, y'all.
Can I
hold on real quick. Hold on real quick, y'all. Hold on real quick. I said we got a lot of people up in the space that's not normal listeners to the actual Twitter space. So if you haven't been in the Twitter space, Newstoter Twitter space before, make sure you go ahead and follow the host and the co-host, guys. Make sure you go ahead and follow the host and the co-host. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned Black curation platform today in America. So if you want to stay up to date on curated news from the top Black sources, please go ahead and follow us, and you can stay up to date 24/7 on what's going on in Black America today. Let me go ahead real quick, y'all.
No, a lot what they do. I'm going to leave this room because what a lot of the spies and the enemies come in here. Hold on. I'm going to leave because the spies and the enemies and the haters come up in here.
Baby, they stay around us. Stay around us.
So I'm going to drop what I'm going to drop, but I'm going to leave this space because they like to follow.
I get it. Let me just say this. He told y'all the truth. Everything he said was not a lie. Here's the only thing that I'm saying to y'all. If y'all gonna ride on the Trump wagon, which ain't nothing wrong with that, it's the way they want to do their politics. This is still America, and you are free to choose. Okay, your politics anyway. And you ride that Trump train. Please know that Trump don't have a history of paying his bills, so y'all not gonna get.
Thanks. Uh-oh. What in the world?
The first thing Trump did during his inauguration, because I had a friend up there in HUD, he was picking out because he's a Black Republican, and so he picking out his office. And so I'm saying to myself, me and him.
Hey, real quick, no taxation. Hold on. Let me say this real quick, sister. They're messing with the space because the space, my screen just went dark. So I'm just letting y'all know in case we lose connection. The phone just went black. So I'm just letting everybody know. So go ahead.
I just want to make my point. I gotta wake up.
Wait a minute before DP. Here's the thing. He was picking out his office in HUD. Do you know when Trump was holding his hand up and his hand was on the Bible and he was over there swearing in? Do you know automatically $200 billion, and it could be $400 billion for low-income housing was pulled out of housing and urban development? How do I know? Because my friend was up there while he was getting sworn in, looking for a corner office. That's why he picked Carson, because Carson don't know nothing. Now, I'm trying to tell y'all what politics is really all about. You're dealing with crooks.
Newstoter, I'm gonna
start out saying.
Hold on, DP. I want to say this so I can land. I want to just let everybody know Juneteenth weekend is our 4th of July. And if you don't know that, please get into your studies. And I want to caution to say that we are getting prepared for the weekend. And I did put out a flyer. There will be a full-on event for Saturday that will preempt for the rally to prepare. So for those of you who want to mingle and who do want to go around and see some historical sites in DC, we have a tour that is being hosted by our Story Tours and two Black vendors, Black travel companies. And we will be dining also in DC at a Black American-owned restaurant. So I advise everyone to get your tickets. Spaces are limited. The Eventbrite has been put up. The flyer has been put out and launched. And for those of you who are looking to go to the rally on Sunday, there will be a get on the bus to be determined based on people who want to come, who do not want to drive in. Again, that will be available based on the amount of people that will like to actually get on the bus between Maryland, DC, and Virginia. So I just want to land and say that because we have to be realistic, and we definitely have to make sure that we again show up, not just for Jean and her legacy, but for your legacy. Show up because you need to let the government know that we exist, we are coming, and that we are American citizens that demand repair, because it is the government's responsibility. They put us in this situation. They damn sure need to pay to fix it. And I land.
All right, DP, I know you've been waiting for a while. Also, let me give a shout out to Aunt Lai. Aunt Lai, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Yeah, let me get let me get to him, Dana, because he's been waiting. He's been waiting for a long time. So let me get to DP. DP.
White people go last. White people go last.
Shout out to the space. And
y'all gonna leave Dana alone.
I appreciate your service. No taxation. I'm actually in the DMV area myself. I was happy to hear you talk. I really heard about Juneteenth rally coming up, and now I got to hear from the horse's mouth how everything was coming around. Me personally, like I've been following this reparation conversation now for about a couple of years. I done read up on Dr. Claudence and Dr. Francis Cress Wilson and Dr. the ISIS paper. Nelly Fuller too, and Nelly Fuller, yeah. And yeah, so anyway, all I want to say is I see now that our group economics is what we're missing. I feel like that's the one hill that it seems like it's hard for us to climb, us trusting each other. And she said a point as far as like niggas don't have that money. We do have that money. Like we got $1 or $2 to put up towards any type of movement that we want to. We're at least 50 million deep. Like and maybe even a smaller percentage of that this riders, maybe 10 to 15% is still enough to get some things moved without money, because that's the only thing that's gonna move anything. To be honest, like every policy that we trying to push and we protesting for, like there's corporations that's spending money in opposition to us, like Amos Brown. That wasn't no coincidence. He got $50 million from Wells Fargo a couple of weeks before he denied that $5 million payment in San Francisco. Like those are the odds that we up against, and on top of that, like these immigrants, they come in here and they'll sleep 5 people in a 2-bedroom apartment for a year or two, just so they can stack and get their money and make moves using each other as crutches. And we have a problem with that. We're so fractured in the Black community. Like that's our biggest issue. Like that's the one thing that's really gonna get us over that hill. And that, and being able to put grassroots politicians into these political spaces, because none of these other guys are going to do anything that we trying to get done. Because like I said, that we're going to get out. We can't beat nobody in the bidding war unless we get a full, damn near 100% of our population to combat it. Which probably won't happen. So we're going to have to start and put our own people in office. So I'm in DC. I'm putting on my guys. It's a hard area and region to break through, because the whitewashing is deep. You in the rough, and we can make a change fast. Like we can make a change before 2030. And I'm on it. I appreciate this space and I learned.
All right, appreciate.
Let me ask you, where is he from? What area? Northwest, southwest, southeast. Where you at?
I was born in Northeast DC. I moved out Howard County. I got a 17-year-old kid trying to get out with all them attached. So we out the way. But I'm still close in the area. I got all of my roots in Northeast DC and South DC.
I used to live off Good Hope Road years ago, baby. That's
Shout out to Sandy Darity.
Sandy Darity is in the room.
Yeah, shout out to
Bring Sandy Darity up, because I got to tell him. Bring Sandy Darity. Offer him a mic. If he want to come up, he can come up. I called him the other day. Sandy Darity thinks that I have beef with him. He had beef with me. I don't have beef with him, because let me tell you something about what I know for sure. And Darity might tell you this and he might not. Here's the thing. If you can get the job done for black folks, you could be my worst enemy and I'll still call you and ask you where you. Everybody know I know how to beg real good. Okay? That's why I took him on the hill, because he know everything. And I tell people to this day, Dr. Darity. Okay? Dr. Darity that graduated MIT in 3 years, the first black man, the first black person to ever do so, the one who devised a whole different strain of economics called stratification, that I will still take you to the hill. How about that? Now, offer him a mic.
Okay, well, he's got to because I don't see him. He's got to request a microphone. So if he wants to speak, he can come up here, and we would definitely go ahead and give him the mic. We're not going to stay open too much longer in this space. I'm gonna let Dana and Phoenix, and if Dr. Darity wants to come up here and speak, by all means, he's free to come up here and speak. But we're gonna get ready to close this out in a second here. So let me go ahead and get to Dana, Phoenix, and if Dr. Darity wants to come up, he can speak as well too. Go ahead, Dana.
Trouble. I'm gonna just throw that in there. Hey, Trouble. Trouble is
Hey, Trouble.
She also a soldier. Trouble is also a soldier. And guess what? So is Otis. Otis and me fell out and fell back in. We fall out and fall back in because we both old. Okay? And Otis is tired just like I'm tired. We need y'all to take this.
Ooh, Trouble, you down in high performance. Ooh, come up here.
All right, Dana. Dana, you got it. Go ahead, unmute your mic.
Yeah. Yeah, first of all, stop focusing on my hand. That's the problem with black people. Y'all focus on get a black hand. My skin complexion, honey. Yes. My skin complexion is not brown. It's not black. It's not dark. Get a black come in all shades. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. No, stop interrupting me. Stop. You know, stop. Because I didn't interrupt nobody. Yeah, and I'm dead ass serious. Like, get off this colorism shit. Like, that takes the focus, and you don't even realize your consciousness is going somewhere else. So the fact is that I'm not changing my hand for multiple reasons. But the thing is I want to go to this AAIP in Florida. See, they didn't get this bill passed because they said, "Oh, black people were hating on them." No. And this is what I mean, that the government, knowing how to work the system, this organization, Make Me Visible, is a national organization with different multiple state chapters. They passed this law recently in Florida. The law was already passed in Connecticut, New Jersey, and they're pending in other states. So you have a nonprofit organization creating chapters working the political system. That is why they have AAIP being passed. Now they used the COVID-19 hate crime bill, which is specifically for the AAPI, to be correct, which Biden signed, which all you black people voted for. They used that federal bill to push their cause, part of their nonprofit organization, to get this education mandatory in every state. So it has nothing to do with black people, because if they did go to the Florida state and said black people are picking on us, so we need this pushed in education, well, where the hell was the black people pushing back saying, don't accuse us of hate crimes because we're not the one? They're not thinking about us. And that's what I'm saying. We need to stop thinking Constitution is not about per person. It's really about the states, to protect the states, not the people. But you got to understand, we can use the government for our benefit. There's no such thing as they owe us. Nobody don't owe you anything. If you want something, you go take it. America is the land of the free because it allows you to go take it. That is why we have the Second Amendment. Juneteenth is not our 4th of July because when Juneteenth happened, that's for the state of Texas 4th of July. Because after Juneteenth, that same year, you had 250,000 slaves still enslaved throughout this nation. So we are, when people were still enslaved at the end of the year. So again, I think we need to get off there's nothing wrong with Juneteenth, but don't make it seem like that was the complete end of slavery. It all goes back to politics. Slavery was legal, but the fact is that you had something legal and you were not compensating the people who was working this land for free, i.e. reparations, repair, and everything else that followed with that. So, and that's all I just want to close with the space. It all goes back to politics. And you got to start understanding what are other people doing to advance their cause that we're not doing, because our causes are not getting advanced. It's learning how to work the system. It's all that. It's group economics, it's politics, it's lobbying, it's nonprofit, it's everything. It's not just one trick pony.
Yeah, but it's one step to.
Hey, real quick, go ahead. Nobody come off your microphone. Let her finish. We closing this space out, so go ahead and let Dana finish, and I'm going to Phoenix, and we're gonna get ready to close it out. Black and Rella, I'll give you guys 2 minutes each, but we getting ready to close the space out. So nobody come off your microphone. Go ahead, Dana.
Just 30 seconds. My thing is, when you talk about economics, you got to talk about politics. They go hand in hand, and if you don't understand that, then you're never going to get any access to power. So you cannot say, it's economics first. No, they work together, and you have to understand the system, period. And that was it. Great space.
Okay.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dana. Let me go ahead and get to Phoenix. Phoenix, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I gotta say, this has been a great conversation. I want to say, peace to no taxation, and I definitely have a lot of compassion and for your work, and I understand how it can be daunting doing it alone. And if you ever need some help, let us know. And I'm looking forward to the rally, to the protest, to whatever it evolves into. But as long as we're showing up and we're there, then that's what's important. I know we have a vision, and the vision is that we're all there together, united. So don't feel any way. You did great work, and everyone that helped her, Black as well, and everyone, and Miss T and Rella and everybody's been caping for it. So I'm setting it up. Get our space together, girl. We gotta get our Airbnb, please. Let me know details. DP is right in and Rella, and we definitely need to become the transformer that Rella spoke about, right? So, and Dana saying that it's an octopus. We have to have our arms and hands in everything, and it's time to shit or get off the pot, right? This is the last cycle. So what we need to be doing, and I'm sharing my number because we need to get on some back channel conversations and really start strategizing and planning now, because we need to be running for these seats. We need to be have another arm with lobbying and putting our money where our mouth is. We need to be getting these meetings with these people that are going to be running in these primaries. We need to get pledges for what they're going to do for us. We need to be showing up as a united front. And so now it's time to take it to the street. So I feel like let's start looking at your district. Let's start looking at the positions that are coming available. A lot of these positions go uncontested. You'll be so surprised that there's a lot of these council member seats, a lot of these state senate seats, state congress seats go uncontested. And we always money, and someone mentioned trust. We can put the money in the escrow account. It doesn't, and have a treasurer, there's ways to have checks and balances with this. So instead of having all of our funds, here, there, and everywhere, and everybody's asking for a donation here, everybody's asking for a donation there, get a fund, get 2 funds, get 3 funds. 3 is the magic number. Get 3 funds, one for campaigns, the other one's for lobbying and meetings, and the other one's for propaganda. We need media. We need we got to get this propaganda machine going, right? Because we got to have our counter narrative. So it's time to get to work. And we've been, we got to come together in fellowship like we do on our spaces. But now it's time to get down and get our hands dirty. So let's get it going. And I just want to land there. I love this conversation tonight. I know it's been, in a way deflating, but it's also been uplifting too, because now we know how to pivot. We always know how to pivot. We got some real smart people in this room. And peace and blessings to Dr. Darren. Thank you, Elder, and thanks to all the elders in the room.
Is Dr. Darity? Is Dr. Darity still in the space?
You're the number one, Elder. I can't be
Okay, because I can't see him. So yeah, I can't see him. If he would like the request to come up, one of the co-hosts, I don't see him. So if that's only if he wants to speak to, because a lot of times people don't want to speak. So, but if he wants to speak,
Watching the basketball game. Is the basketball game on?
because like I say, I don't. Yeah, I think it is a game on tonight, but I don't even.
Game on. He probably watching the basketball game. I can tell you that right now.
No, okay.
We can't talk to y'all right now. It's the playoffs, man.
Okay, well, he got us in the background. I can tell you that right now. Now, how about that? They already played this back. Now, I'm not going to tell it all, but I'm going to tell a little bit. Now, and don't let them people fool you. You see what happened, don't you? You see what happened. You need to go back to the hill. You need to come speak for us. It's a national thing. And I know you've been trying to tell them. I've been trying to tell them too. It's a national thing. Only the federal government got enough money to cure our ills. How about that?
Let me go ahead. And I'll let since I don't think Dr. Darity's gonna come up, then I will go ahead and we'll let Rella and Black Majority be the last speakers for the night. Real quick, Rella, I'm gonna give you 2-3 minutes, and Black 2-3 minutes, and then we're gonna close the space out for the night.
Oh, is Black going first or I'm going?
You can go first.
All right, so I'm gonna say I'm not in disagreement with Dana saying, and again, I said it earlier. All things actually matter, and yes, the government actually does owe its American population, because we are not the population that make up the legislatures that actually push legislation. And you would be a fool to think that people who are in legislation somehow gets to ignore humanity amongst all Americans, only just so that they can say, well, we're going to ignore the Black people who are the descendants of chattel slavery, American freedmen, those who went through, again, the Great Depression, and who also went through Jim Crow. So that on a state level, on a federal level, the people who are in positions of power, who change hands on like every 2 years or whatever, those particular people are voted in by the people. So the accountability is on the people, and it is on the government, those who actually are in positions of power. For as far as the federal government, because of how Reconstruction happened and it actually was dissolved by Andrew Johnson, there is more information to be uncovered and talked about, which actually would say the government, as they are able to amend the Constitution and all the other legislations, they would owe the American population of the freedmen descendants. Yes, ma'am. Then the other thing, the reason why I stated that Juneteenth is our holiday to be celebrated, because July 4th was not for the independence of our people. July 4th, 1776, our people were still in bondage. June 18th happened after emancipation. So if you ask me, the fight after emancipation would actually be the freedom of all of our people, which I classify, from my opinion, from what I understand history to be, our July 4th, which is why I don't celebrate July 4th anymore. I celebrate Juneteenth. That's me. That's me because I actually know and I read a lot of information. So it's different for everybody. And at the end of the day, take it for what it is. Everything can be compartmentalized. It can be understood differently, but at the same exact thing, the commonality is that we have to collectively unite so that we can get in the understanding of why what we're doing, what it is that we're going to be doing, and how we get it done. The other point is for the AAPI conversation, there was a group of people that actually went up to the United States Civil Rights, the United States Civil Rights Agency to fight against the AAPI community, actually testifying, stating that they are being harmed. And they did actually mention Black Americans as being the harm as to reason why they need legislation, which is why you see across the country states actually, like Ron DeSantis, signing bills to give AAPI the foot they need to have a bigger force in their lobbying as they go to receive resources from the federal government, because they're not stopping at the state. They're actually meeting at the federal level. They met with
Hey, Rella, real quick, let's get ready to land it real quick.
So I did say that. We're not disagreeing because everything you said going back to Reconstruction. Wait 1 second, because I'm going to ask you this. Everything you said, even going back to Reconstruction, everything you broke down that happened through policy, correct?
So everything that happened with Reconstruction happened with policy, yes, but it also happened on a state level.
It's still policy. It's still policy. So the second question is, if they took it away from us legally through policy, to get it back would have to be through policy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing with any. I'm just making points. I'm answering the points of when you made the statements that where were the Black people. I'm in spaces where the Black people did show up. And there are holes in people's conversations, and I'm hearing them. And so it's hard to try to answer everything in a spaces, but I'm just trying to let you know that there are things as to why certain people say certain things, and I mentioned that earlier. Everybody don't know everything, and I think Isaiah mentioned that too. People are running around here with I don't want to know what my left hand, right hand doing, but then at the same time, we're trying to get on the same page. I'm not disagreeing. I'm trying to fill in the gaps of what I was hearing you say. And so I wanted to make sure that was clear. I love the fact that Phoenix actually did mention the deflating of the conversation, because I want people to walk away from
Hey, Rella, I'm not trying to cut you off, sweetie, but
I'm about to land.
Yeah, go ahead and land it.
Yes, sir. And I want people to walk away encouraged to come to the rally, encouraged to get involved, and encouraged to get active. And that's all I want to say. Period.
All right. Thank you. Black, your last speaker for the night. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay.
I'm last. I want to be last.
But we getting ready. Okay. We finna get ready to close it out. I know that much. But go ahead, Black.
That's fine.
So thanks, Newstoter. I want to thank all the speakers that came up. And I do want to personally invite everybody to the Saturday tour that will flow into the Sunday events. I will be there for both, and I'm excited to be there. You know, I was at the November thing in DC. I'm going to Delaware this Saturday to try to get in touch with Black Guns Matter advocate and go to that short event. So I'm driving 10 hours to go to a 2-hour event, but it is what it is. And so I just want to say again, thank you for everybody who came to speak. Definitely, if you already have plans to attend, please continue with the plans. Check out the tour. And then I'll see you there. Let's take pictures, let's post, let's get the word out, and definitely show up because action is all that matters.
All right, appreciate that, Black. Go ahead, no taxation.
Let me just say this. That lady that was before Rella, and Rella, let me tell you this. It don't matter who's running. Everybody got a different opinion, and that's okay. It really don't matter. See, and David disagrees everything. Full of me, she disagrees with me, and I still say Dana's voice is relevant because that's what we need. It don't matter if you have a different opinion, as long as the goal is still the same. See, I want to read y'all something, and Darity, this is for you. More than anybody, this is for you. The time has come for the United States finally to lay to rest the issue of what has been called variously the slave problem, the colored problem, the Negro problem, the black problem, and the African American problem. The country can ill afford to remain stranded in the mire of injustice, perpetually refusing to resolve the fundamental historic national dilemma facing all Americans. All Americans. For too long, the nation has refused to take steps to solve an unethical predicament of its own making. The problem of the unequal status of black and white Americans. This congressional hearing on H.R. 40, former Congressman John Conyers worked on so tirelessly for 3 decades, not only should credit his efforts, but should have lead directly to the completion of the goal he and others have worked to achieve, charting a path forward toward a just and equitable America. I wrote that, and Darity will take that. And that was in his congressional remarks for the first H.R. 40 hearing. So I've done the work. And when I tell you all that we are in dire straits, we are in dire straits. They don't want us up there. What they gonna do is we all come in there with some reparations t-shirts and some signs that say reparations now. What they gonna do? If you don't have a national push in this country, you're not gonna have nothing. And I can tell you that for a fact. If you're not on Capitol Hill where the people make decisions, you're not going to get a decision maker on your side. I can tell you that for a fact. I can tell you people whose offices on the congressional level, even though I don't deal with Congress people because I think they fool-la-la and they fugazi. Because Senate is a place where people have a job for life. See, that's why they've been up there for so long. That's the Congress people have to go get their money every 2 years. So they work probably about 8-10 months out the year. The rest of it is fundraising. Don't waste your time on those people who's looking for a nickel and a dime. They trying to keep their checks. In the Senate office, guess what? They know they got to check for life. The Senate, quiet as it's kept, the Senate is a place where you go, you got a job for life, and you go and die. That's why you see they caught it, Dianne Feinstein up in there. She been sick how long? They said the bitch got dementia. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Newstoter. They said she got dementia. And she coming up in there and vote. You see? You don't see the game? Y'all don't see it? Don't waste your time on people who looking for trying to keep their check. Y'all trying to keep y'all check too. Ain't no difference. Go on the Senate side. Go on the Senate side where the decisions are being made. That's where all the white folks are. Who they got over there? Cory Booker and Tim Scott. Name another black one. See what the game is? I keep trying to tell y'all, put your energy in places where it counts. And if you think that the states have enough money to give you, you are sorely mistaken. You see what didn't happen out there in California and the blowback and the fallback. What didn't happen after they announced. And I'm not taking nothing away from them folks in California. Nothing. Nothing. But I'm here to tell you, if they, and it ain't the whole state of California, go back and read that bill. As quiet as it's kept, it's not my understanding. It's even black folks in the whole state of California. It's just a section. Just saying. I'm just saying. I ain't read the bill because I I'm in New York. They in California. It don't directly affect me. But I will tell you this: if you're not on the Senate side pushing, and in them white folks' faces, in them white folks' faces, in them white folks' faces, you ain't doing shit. Period. You're not gonna get nothing done. You can go to the black caucus and talk about what they ain't doing. Them niggas don't care. Sorry, I'm sorry, Newstoter. Them folk don't care nothing about you. You don't see it.
Knackers.
We need senators. We need 3 senators.
I'm trying, DJ.
3 senators in
I'm trying,
2024. 3 senators.
I'm trying, DJ. I'm trying. And Phoenix, I'm trying. And thank you so much for what you said. Let me tell you something. The fight that I've been, this is the first fight, and I have desegregated schools. Go back and look at that website real good. My parents put me in the demonstration at the age of 3 years old. I've been hearing people talk about, well, my parents didn't, they wasn't in the movement, they didn't do. Well, that's fine. It don't make no difference. Whether your parents was in the movement and put you in it or didn't put you in it really don't matter. Are you in it? That's what counts. Are you in it? What you doing? What you doing in your local and your national? And your national. That's what counts. Because I'm going to tell you something. Them folk down in Mississippi, they ain't got water. How about that? They ain't got water. And guess what? The Environmental Protection Agency run by Michael Reagan, he got the money. It's not that he don't want to get them people fixed. It ain't that. You're a black man. It's not that he don't want to get them fixed. It's not that he can't allocate the money. You know what the EPA told me when I was down there in Houston with the creosote problem from Union Pacific? You know what the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, told me? If we don't get a groundswell of public support and people in the streets, we can't do nothing. Y'all better get in the damn streets. Y'all better act like you mad. Y'all better act like you care. Because if you don't, they don't give a fuck and they don't have to do nothing. That's what they told me. And I'm just one little old black woman looking at 70 years old. I can't help y'all no more. After this, I quit. I'll tell you that right now. We're going to move on to bigger and better. See what happens. If you don't get it now, you ain't going to get it for another 50 years. The opportunity will never come again. For 50 years, maybe 60. You see they put them immigrants in here and they giving them money. What you thought? I'm a land.
And a phone. Don't forget they're giving them money and a phone. That means access. That means access to the internet.
Diapers for their babies and baby food and every damn thing. And they trying to tell you
All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
We got new knackers in town.
Thank you.
And if y'all don't rise up like we did in the 60s, it's not gonna happen for you. Period. Period. Everybody fighting for their piece of the pie. That's what the government is there for. To get your piece of the pie. Period. And I'm gonna leave it like that, Newstoter. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm gonna sample that shit. We got new knackers in town.
I didn't even ask Denise to come up. I didn't even ask Denise to come up. I didn't even ask Denise Long to come up. She been with me for the very beginning. She's supposed to be speaking on immigration. See, I didn't even ask her to come up. What y'all don't know is I do work, real work. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm telling you, it's rough for a girl out here. Y'all step up your game.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you, No Taxation. We about to get ready to close this space out because I have to get up very, very early in the morning to get kids ready for school. So I appreciate everybody that came up in the space tonight, the speakers, the co-hosts, everybody, the listeners, everybody who signed up on the YouTube channel and donated as well too. Thank all you guys. We're going to go ahead and close this space out for the night. I will see y'all tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys. Y'all have a good night. And everybody continue to push and support the reparations movement as well too. So peace. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Can I hear DJ say peace, peace? Because it's not right until he says
yeah, you already know. Look, I came back up here to mute my mic, follow the next space all night long. But peace, peace, though. There you go. You know what I'm saying? Peace, 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 peace.